What is happening, Dolphins fans? Welcome to the post-game wrap-up. Didn't go our way. Dolphins are now 3-1. Cincinnati ended up pulling out the victory. Tua goes down with a nasty injury, ends up being carted off the field. Not what anyone wants to see. Good news, silver lining. He is being released. He is going to fly home with the team. But, the game was essentially over when he left the field because Teddy Bridgewater just cannot put the ball on target downfield. It just was not pretty once he got in there. And it's a rough conversation to have, about Tua, cuz I got to be honest, up to this point in this season he has looked electric. But the conversation now starts to shift. Is this guy an injury prone guy? Is there going to be a future for him as a quarterback with these types of injuries? Now, I don't want to jump the gun on that. Let's wait and see what the medical says. Let's see how he bounced back, how he deals with the opportunity. But one thing's for sure, Teddy Bridgewater is definitely not a guy or the guy. And I know early in the offseason when we got Teddy, I was excited to have him, South Florida boy coming home, going to play out. But I can't help but feel like, I don't know, Teddy looks like Teddy, taking all the check down stuff, not pushing the ball down the field, and just underwhelming to say the least. But I got a couple guys in the back. I'm going to bring them up. But before we get going on everything, I'm going to go ahead and share the post-game conference with Coach talking right now. I have it paused so we can catch up and stuff like that. And let's hear what Coach is everything. I'm sure there's a lot of football left to play, but let's hope Tua gets back healthy because our season's going to live and die by whether Tua plays this year.
That's me. That was a moment. He was evaluated for concussion, and he's in the concussion protocol. He was at the hospital. I believe he's about to get discharged. That was an emotional moment. That is not part of the deal that anyone signs up for, even though you
What's up, Brian?
know it's a possibility.
Hey, what's up, man?
Football to have something that you have to get taken off on a stretcher is, all of his teammates, myself, we were all very, very concerned. So the best news that we could get is that everything is checked out. That anything serious. He'll be flying back with us here on the plane.
Get this weak ass microphone they got for us in Cincinnati.
Yeah, no. For me,
Are we on the call live here with Mike? No, I'm just kidding.
We're on. Yeah, we're on the call live.
To do for the organization, and
I'm typing in my questions.
And I didn't have that.
Oh man,
obligation, and
it's crazy. At least we're 3-1. I expected us to be 2-2 at this point.
Is
me too.
Comfortable for anybody, and
but it's not a good look with our quarterback going down the way he did.
Not
a
situation that you
not good on that.
Or your team in general.
A lot of people speculating too.
I'm just glad that it worked out.
Mm-hmm.
How is there not a clear answer on whether or not something happened last week?
When you lose games to
I know, right?
Teams,
and that's the real
point to that. We
it's just
battle,
doesn't make sense.
Taking field goals as opposed to trying to on top of we had some, we
This dude is a pro here, though. I'll tell you.
in the
Look at him answer those questions in a hoodie.
that ball that had been executing, we did not today, and you don't get freebies or you don't get passes in games.
Is there some lag, or is it just me?
Lag.
It's a little bit of lag.
Lag for me too.
Yeah, it's lagging for me too.
Better from it, and that's what we'll be challenging the guys to do, because that's what will happen in games against good opponents if you don't take advantage of those opportunities.
He's just trying to answer the minimal amount of questions that he can.
Trying to get out of there.
I love this dude. I love this dude.
I do too.
The message was that I mean, if Tua had his way, that he'd be standing here watching, and that we need for him because one of our teammates and our brothers has gone down. So that was beyond what everyone else was. The expectations to come in and play pretty well, and they didn't. So tried to refocus them as best I could with that message.
He just, I mean,
what goes into
hope
every
Tua is doing well.
Every one of those decisions. That
I hope so too.
It starts
Yeah,
with
man.
your medical staff, but then
He's good. I'll tell y'all why.
there's independent specialists that look into it too. There's probably I don't know, 5 different layers of a process and decision making, like you do with all players.
Do I have to comment?
Yes.
Yeah, don't comment. That's a dumbass.
Him
Bro.
getting cleared by people? Well, yeah, I mean, your standard operating procedure with all players in every single game. We reported him having. That's why the NFL has these protocols, and there's not, like every single NFL game that is played, independent specialist that specializes in the specialty of brain matter.
Special.
So,
Yes, he's nailing it.
for
He
me,
is
as long as I'm
nailing
coaching
it.
here,
Mhm.
if there's
Yeah, he is.
I'm not gonna fudge that whole situation.
Yeah,
If there's
yeah, because he's smarter than you.
any-
Mike McDaniel is smarter
any
than
sort of
you stupid
inclination that
reporters
someone
or
has
whatever.
a concussion,
Trying to
it's
trip him up right
because
now.
of protocol, and it's
Yeah.
Yeah, Cat, you got to be ready for the next couple of weeks, man.
Yeah.
Just take it easy, man, because it's going to get worse, man.
Oh, trust me. I'm taking it easy. Because the next couple of weeks, and I'm not going to overshadow McDaniel here. I'm sorry.
Issue that you guys have to worry about. Yeah, no, I that's told to me. It's not I'm making that decision. It's more that the medical professionals that are there with him at the time deem him fit to leave, and what goes into that. I just report.
It may not
Just
seem like
report
it,
the
but he's
news.
nailing this interview. I'm telling you.
He's answering it appropriately.
Yes, and
He's
get
giving
it.
him nothing.
Get in it in
I saw him lay
30
down.
minutes on
I
a
saw
prime
that
time and get out of it.
It looked
He's
like
doing
he
it.
Had the
Yep, headed off.
stress
Headed
was
off.
on with the impact of the hit, and then once I got out to the field, I knew right away that this was but I was worried things. On top of that, so just had
At least
to make sure that all things with relation to the spine and back and all that stuff. You want to make sure that's okay. But it was very clear to me from the onset that he had. I didn't really know the degree of, but I knew he had a concussion. He was asking for me, and then when he saw me, I could just tell there was it wasn't the same guy that I'm used to seeing. So
fuck.
Damn.
That's why the whole team came out in unison in 50 people.
Well,
I think that was my hope. Just because I would know
He
knew
was
exactly
hurt.
the way Tua would feel.
Yeah, and the
once
team.
that-
I wish the team could have responded for him.
business, and so
Agreed. Agreed.
They did when it was 15-14, but that's
Yeah,
a
I
different
think they did. I think
discussion.
it just got too insurmountable. You know what I mean? But shout out to the defense. I mean, shout out to the defense.
Shout out to
Said he
defense.
wasn't ready.
Yeah.
Scout time.
So are we looking at this broadcast with McDaniel, or are we tailoring off on
taking advantage of opportunities that we weren't.
never
So I think that I feel confident that they put it behind them, but it's at that point in time you have to put it behind you, but you also have to rise to the occasion and make some plays on both sides of the ball. And I think we just weren't very complimentary like we had been in the previous weeks.
perfect response?
Yep.
Attaboy.
I mean, I know we need to move forward, guys, but what the hell do we do now? I mean, obviously we know.
we have Skylar Thompson.
No, I think that is,
Obviously, we know
I would say now that
I won't
Dolphins,
talk to y'all. I will talk privately. I won't say it publicly, but all I'm gonna say is expect quite a few weeks. That's all I'm saying. Is expect quite a few weeks.
I don't even need a doctor's degree to understand you there, CJ.
Yeah, at least 4 weeks, man. 4 weeks.
What's different
What were you
is
gonna say, Kat?
it's not strictly a concussion. There's more to it than that.
It's neurological. They need to get to the bottom of it.
Actually, the concussion is a secondary issue. The concussion is a secondary issue to the primary injury.
I don't get into the medical side of things, but what I've always said, even before this game started, is that when you look at the next 9 weeks of the NFL season, you look at Zach Wilson, Kirk Cousins, Mitch Trubisky, Justin Fields, Jared Goff, a bye week, Jacoby Brissett, and Jimmy Garoppolo. Those are the next 8 weeks. The Dolphins do not face a quarterback even on the same level as Joe Burrow until December 10th.
That's why I'm not hanging my head low, Brian. That's why I'm not hanging my head low, man.
I'm not.
Not the way our defense played tonight. There's no reason for us to hang our heads low.
Yeah, I would.
We got to trust in this man. Trust in this man that's talking right now on the interview. Trust in this man to make the right decisions at quarterback. We'll be fine, ladies and gentlemen.
Agreed, Color.
Cullen, I would take it a step further and say that when it comes to Josh Boyer, the way he handled Joe Burrow tonight was impressive.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
You're talking about at the beginning of the fourth quarter, the Dolphins are winning the game 15-14 after the traumatic head injury that happened to their starting quarterback. That was leading the NFL, or that was second in the NFL. And
I couldn't agree more. we were poised to do exactly what some of us predicted. We were poised to roll that team coming out of the half if that injury doesn't happen.
Yep.
I mean,
100% agree.
If I'm McDaniel, I'd open up a quarterback competition between Skyler and Bridgewater, and I would see how how they respond. You got 10 days, at least to figure out, who you want to roll with first.
But do you use 10 days to just make the decision on Skyler and get him?
No, yeah.
I think that's fair, Ollie. I think that's fair, Ollie. A quarterback competition, I think, is something that is useful. But for those who are down on Teddy's play tonight, I think you should wait and look at the film.
Oh no,
it's not about tonight.
Really nice strikes tonight. Besides that long pass, I will give him that.
It's not about tonight. He made in that first drive. In that first drive, he made quite a few good throws. Not when Tua first got injured, but the next drive after that, when we scored the touchdown.
That was terrible. That was a terrible drive.
Some nice good throws. But after that, it straight fucking fell off downhill after that.
And none of us could really ever know.
Hey, one at a time, please. One at a time.
Hold on, Cap. None of us can really ever know whether Gesicki was supposed to sit down on that route or continue out.
Yeah.
No,
we can never know.
We're gonna nitpick. We're gonna nitpick.
He probably should have sat down on that route. Yeah, but I mean,
it looked to me that's what Teddy was expecting them to do. I'm not trying to excuse the interception. I'm just saying we don't know.
We're just gonna nitpick on plays, though. At the end of the day, I've been saying it, and I think most of us have been saying it before the season even started. This is what you're gonna get from Teddy Bridgewater. This is exactly what you're going to get. It's going to be average at best.
Hard to argue.
He's the check down king, bro. Check down king.
Yeah, man. Screw football politics. Screw football politics. We know what needs to be done.
It's just like everybody says about Tua. I'll tell you this. That first fucking drive out after the Tua injury, that very next drive, I believe that they had plays already called up that Teddy knew, hey, if I got to come in, these are going to be my first few plays because, bro, he was on point. Then after that drive,
they ran out of plays because the package that you give a backup quarterback in a situation like that is going to be limited, and when you attempt to extend,
I don't believe it's limited.
Harry, you're leading me to make a fair point is that none of us have. I mean, it's not as if Mike McDaniel has had a chance to go totally deep and crack the books on Teddy as far as developing schemes to accentuate whatever attributes might be left in the man.
But at the same time, I think Ollie's point is sound that if you open up a quarterback competition, that this would be the time, given the extra 3 days.
There shouldn't be a competition. There shouldn't be a competition.
You've got Mike McDaniel. You've got Darren Bevel. Obviously, whatever the two of them have done, I've been on record saying Tua can only improve himself, and that's what's happened. But obviously, he's got the avenue to do it because he's done it. And we have to be fair and say those men have not put 100% of their time into Teddy Bridgewater
Can
developing a way to accentuate
Let's
his
also
Skyler.
Can I make a point?
Go ahead. I'm going after you, Lewis. Go ahead.
One at a time.
The question is, what do you take? What do you spend the next 10 days on?
With Skyler
quarterback competition or cracking the books to get one of the two guys ready? And which one do you get ready?
You take Skyler and you take Skyler, and this is the point I want to make. See, because again, KP makes an excellent point, but this is where I would say KP, in my opinion, you're wrong. Because when Teddy Bridgewater comes in the game and we got to change up plays or we got to give him things that work for him, I'm going to take y'all back to the preseason. And everybody wants to talk about it being third and fourth stringers against the Philadelphia Eagles. Remember the play that Skylar Thompson rolling across his body, bootlegging to the opposite side of the field, throws an absolute laser. That has nothing to do with scheme.
There's no debate or argument that Skylar is the more talented quarterback. I'm not going to argue about talent, Lewis.
We're not
that's
talking
why
about
I
it,
asked
that's
the
what I'm
question.
saying.
Do you go ahead and take this opportunity to work out the rookie bugs?
It's talent versus experience at this point.
Because
I wanna
it gives
piggyback
you
off
the
of what
advantage. It gives you the advantage
Please,
of a
CT,
9-day
let me
head
finish,
start.
CT. I'm just
One at a time.
don't
One
make
at a
me mute
time.
people.
Trying to say
Don't
something.
make me mute people. Please don't make me mute people.
Oh
Dude,
my
you
God,
just
bro. Okay, go
bro,
ahead.
you
Big
cut
dog.
me off right in the middle of what I was saying, bro.
I was trying to say something.
I don't care
4
what you were
fucking
trying
times
to
in a
do.
row. Exactly.
One at a time. One at a time. One at a time. We have a guest.
So,
We have a
as
guest.
I was saying, now I forgot what I was saying. But you know, the thing of it is, you work. Brian, I wanted to get your opinion on it anyway, Brian. So go ahead.
So Skylar Thompson wasn't inactive before this week. So I think it's an indifferent conversation right now. I mean, I want Skylar Thompson to drop back and hit Tyreek Hill on a 65-yard pass like what he hit Tyreek Hill on that was not deflected. And Skylar Thompson is more physically able to do that. Bridgewater is more scheme dependent, and he can drag it. You know, the reality is Teddy Bridgewater has been in the NFL for 10 years, and Skylar Thompson could go out and be another Tony Romo, but he could also go out and throw 4 interceptions. And I'm not sure where that breaking point is, and you guys probably know where it is more than I do.
Well, the guy's definitely talented, and the whole thing of it is, Brian, is that, you know, do we want like you, to your point? This is what I was actually had forgot earlier. To your point about the quarterbacks that we face going forward for the next 7 or 8 games, I mean, yeah, we could easily take the path of, you know, system guy, game manager, and let their guys sling the ball all over us and eke out wins. Or we could do it right now with Skylar and say, look, you know, there's going to be a couple games where, yeah, he hasn't ever experienced true game speed. But we still have Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and everybody else running around the secondary to catch balls.
I don't know. Jalen Waddle looked a little banged up tonight.
I think Skylar, okay, fine. But I think Skylar definitely has enough ability and probably exceeds average in distributing the ball to those types of weapons.
Can I make a point? I want to make a point. I want to piggyback on what Lewis said and what everyone's talking about, just real quick, and then I have to drop off, unfortunately.
Go.
But what I'm trying to say is that let's not forget that Mike McDaniel actually has experience in this situation on having to change how they coach in their entire playbook to maximize somebody's strengths and make it show on the field. He had to do that with Robert Griffin III. You know what I mean? They had to run RPO, and they had no idea what RPO was back then. You know what I mean?
Great point, Ali, because there again, that adds to the question. Do you want Mike McDaniel to waste his time trying to accentuate whatever attributes are left in Teddy? Or do you want him to spend his time accentuating the attributes of one Skylar Thompson? And I would say Skylar Thompson.
Can I answer that real quick?
Go ahead, Miss Fins.
Go ahead, Miss
Thank
Fins.
you. Been trying for like 45 years to get in here.
You got it,
Good
Miss
morning,
Fins.
guys. Listen, first and foremost, and I told you this, I wanted to say it. The minute that Tua went down, the way that he went down, I could care less about this game because that's that man's life. You know what I mean? I had a feeling after that it was going to be very tough for us to win. And you know what? Win or loss, I was okay with it. And you know what? Of course, I wanted us to get the win, but not with, without Tua like that, especially with what happened, I was fine. Taking this L, because this L at the end of the day, it has an asterisk to me. And it's not about us having injuries. That's not injuries, guys. He literally had to go to the hospital. So that's different, and that's not an excuse. We took a loss. It is what it is. We're moving forward. But this was the only game out of all of my predictions, and you saw it, Color, because you saw my receipt. Out of all of them, the only one that I had as an actual loss. Everything else a possible win. And I said it because it was against the Super Bowl number 2 team.
Yes.
And that's literally the only reason why.
It literally, to add to your point, Miss Fins, we came on a short week into their house. All was in their favor. Tua going down. The game got away from us. It really, though, it was a game that was we weren't out of. We weren't out of until that interception from Teddy, and then the game really started to not go our way, and it's just a shame. It really is, because everything looks so high. And look, we are 3-1 in the first 4 games, the toughest 4-game stretch we'll have all season by measure, if breaking it down into quarters like we do.
Real quick.
Go ahead, Kari.
If anybody had any doubts that this is an NFL season, and in fact that they may have had fairy tale illusions about us going 17-0, this game should sober us up to the reality of what a 17-game NFL season is and is going to be. It's going to be tough. It's going to be a dogfight. You're going to have to scrap out wins where it's difficult, and you're going to have to overcome injury. All right, we are in it now for real. So for any of those fairy tale dreamers, we need to sober up to the reality of what it will take for us to become a winning team that makes the playoff and is serious about challenging for a Super Bowl. And we can't be too drastic. We can't be too drastic with, let's go to the third string quarterback right away. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if the coaches decide that is the decision, that's the direction we take, I'm behind McDaniel and his staff to make that decision.
I 100% agree that we all have to get behind Mike McDaniel's decision, no matter what it is.
I agree with that, but I have one point about Skyler real quick after you, Carrie.
Go ahead. I'm done. Yeah.
Oh, okay. What I wanted to say about Skyler is, it kind of to what Carrie just said. Oh, Kari, I forget. I'm so sorry.
It's all good, Miss Prince. It's all good.
Sorry, this Tua thing he really.
Listen, I just changed it from Kari to KP because there was some other KP in TD's thread saying stuff, and I don't want people to get it mixed up. That's some other KP.
Kari. You got it, Miss Prince. You're the real. We know you're the real one, so it's okay. But as far as Skyler, I think because this is kind of the belly of the season, this would be the perfect time to see what you have in your third stringer. Now, granted, you don't want to throw him into the Lions, but you do want to go ahead and see. I think you prep both of them, period, equally.
I agree with you 100%.
I don't think there should be a quarterback competition. It should be both of you guys are running the exact same plays, and this is what we're gonna get. We're gonna do, because at the end of the day, if Teddy goes down, we're going to be stuck with Skyler anyways. But if we put Skyler and he goes down, we're stuck with Teddy. So no matter what, I would go ahead and just prep them both for this next game. And this will be the time to give both of them, not just Skyler, both of them the opportunity to get those game day legs underneath them. So that's what I would do if I was the coaching staff.
I think that's a great point. What I'm wondering is, Skylar Thompson is really the Tyler Thigpen from 10 years ago. That if he were given an opportunity, he could throw so many touchdowns or throw so many interceptions. Teddy Bridgewater is going to be the quarterback of this team moving forward. I'm not sure if I'm comfortable with that, but
it's the football politics. The football politics make it very, very awkward right now, because we all know what we saw during the preseason. I'm sorry, but I saw today.
Talent-wise, yes, absolutely.
But that's a great point there. What you said is that. So, do you take 10 years of NFL experience as an 8-8 quarterback against a 7th round draft pick who was really good in preseason for 1 year? And that's a legitimate question. I don't know the answer to that.
Well, given the display that our defense has put on the past 4 games, and given the weapons that we've had for any quarterback that you bring in here, I'm on the record as saying that our offense is designed to make Donald Duck successful. You know,
I like Donald Duck as my QB.
And so if you want to like really throw the ball around the field, I say you just go with the rookie. You could look to the example of Colin Kaepernick out in San Francisco back then when he surpassed Alex Smith.
But just to push back on that color, the only reason why I wouldn't just throw him in here without giving Teddy the chance to go ahead and start this next game is because, like Mr. Bryan said, you have 10 plus years of experience with Teddy. This is what he's getting paid for. You know what I mean? So you want to get your money's worth.
Sure.
Now, if we were completely giving up on the whole season, then forget it. Bench him and let's get Skyler in it.
Now, if Teddy plays next week, sorry, Miss Vince, go ahead. Sorry,
because I just don't want to forget it. The point is, put Teddy because that's his job, but have Skyler ready that if anything happens, let's say we have to make second half adjustments, I'm benching Teddy and I'm putting Skyler in and see if he can spark off the offense. Sorry.
I don't know. I think
was
this is the game to do that.
Well, I was thinking something kind of similar, like you just put a really short leash on Teddy, and if he's mucking it up for the first half, don't hesitate to have Skyler come in and have him ready. Like
every other position is by committee. Why can't the QB at this point, because we don't have Tua, be by committee too? In my opinion.
Well, next week's game is going to be huge for that reason. You know, if Teddy comes out and is indifferent or has a mediocre performance and we lose, then I don't think anything is going to stop McDaniel from making that switch. But you're right, Miss Vince. I think next week for sure you give Teddy the ball, you give him the full 10 days of reps or however many days they're going to build, and we go from there.
And to your point, Kahari, real quick, I just wanted to add, there's no such thing as Teddy anon. So, yeah, I think that Teddy would have a short leash, and I don't think anybody would be afraid to pull the plug, because at some point you have to say, well, what's the difference? Like Brian Catt said earlier, it's an indifferent situation.
Yeah,
I'm really fine with whatever McDaniel decides how he decides to handle it at this point, because I think at this point, we can only be sure of one thing, and that's our defense. So how do we build a winning team? How do we game plan a winning team where the only thing you can be certain of is that?
Well, if you think about it right now, this is like our first bye week. You know what I mean? Because
it is. We do have a 10-day right. We do have a mini bye.
It's like having an early season bye week. So if anything, that's why I say you want to prep both of them, because you never know what you're.
You have anything to add to that, Brian?
Yeah, I'll say first, Miss Fins, you've brought up some great points. And look, Skylar Thompson, I'm going to go back to 10 years ago. Tyler Thigpen, for people that remember, is that he had so much of the upside, and it wouldn't surprise me if Skylar Thompson somehow got in the lineup. But Teddy Bridgewater is his quarterback moving forward.
I agree.
And what the biggest thing that we have to remember at the end of the day, the Dolphins are 3-1. I expected them to be 1-3 at this point after 4 games. The tough part of the schedule is over, and you look at the next 9 weeks. There, you look at the next 9 weeks. You've got hold on. You've got the Jets next week. You've got the Vikings the week after that at home. You've
until
got
the 3-game West Coast swing. Yeah, like you said.
Yeah, I mean, Steelers on Monday night.
7 weeks.
At Detroit, at Chicago, versus Cleveland, bye week, versus Houston. I mean, there's not going to be a really challenging game in this type of way tonight, even with Teddy Bridgewater, until December 18th against the Buffalo Bills at Buffalo. So it's 3-1, and I would be disappointed if the Dolphins were not a 10-win team when they went to Buffalo in December.
Despite who's playing quarterback.
Despite who's playing quarterback.
I agree.
Despite who's playing quarterback.
I think they can win.
I got a question.
I think they can win 8 out of the next 10 games, if not 7 at the least. So.
God willing, no more injuries.
Yeah, I have a question.
Okay, hold on for just a moment. Let me recognize Cincy fan for the $5 donation. I feel bad for Tua because he gets hurt the second they bring him in. I told y'all you wouldn't last the whole game. Prayers up to Tua. Well, we appreciate the prayers up to Tua, and thank you for the $5 donation, Cincy fan. But you're still wrong, and you should still be worried about your team. Just saying. Go ahead, Miss Vince.
No, my question is, I mean, I know we're not medical experts here, but this is, you don't want to have your future franchise quarterback, which is what we're trying to determine with Tua, come in or come back too early. So with that being said, I don't foresee him coming back at least for the next 3 games, because it would just be too much. And first of all, it would be bad optics from the NFL, from media in general, like you're not protecting your QB. And 2, you really want to make sure you get all the evaluation you need, give him time to rest, and it'll actually help him overall, because all those extra little other injuries that he had, he'll be able to rest. I'm not saying put him on IR, but I would rather bench him than actually, risk his life, if I'm being honest. But that will put us all the way up to the Lions game after that Sunday Night Football. Do you guys think with Skylar and Teddy that we can go 3-0?
Yes, with Skylar.
Go ahead, Brian.
I was going to say, the first thing I think that needs to be taken into account, and Miss Vince, you bring up some great points here.
Thank you. If you want to, you can definitely catch my channel and subscribe.
Where's your channel?
On YouTube, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. Eastern. I have a show, The Miss Vince Show, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. and Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. with color.
I love your logo.
First thing in the morning, Pat. First thing in the morning.
But here's the big thing for me. I want to know from a medical expert what happened last week and what happened tonight. Period.
Yeah. We do have a lot of answers that are yet to come before
unfortunately, the NFL
is speculative things. Not for people on the show, but what actually happened.
Brian, did you catch the post game on Prime? Apparently, the NFL press is going to gear up and get in deep when it comes to exploring that question. So we may get some answers at some point in the next week or two.
Well, so it's like you're saying, though, last season with the ribs. Last season with the ribs, we didn't know what was going on.
Right.
Go ahead, Kat. 100% agree with you, Kerry. 100% agree. But in the last 10 days, last 5 days, what has happened? Like, I want physical evidence from a doctor of what's happened with Tua, because all I saw tonight is Josh Tupie, a 350-pound nose tackle, slam Tua Tagovailoa, a 6-foot, 200-pound quarterback to the ground. That's all I saw.
I'll tell you this: the NFL actually.
The narrative is that we let him play. That's the narrative. The narrative is we let him play, and he had 2 concussions. That's the narrative. We're looking like the bad guys once again.
Exactly. But however, they did say in the post-game show that the NFLPA has already scheduled, and they were setting up the schedules for the interviews, not just with the medical staff, but also Tua and others individuals, just to find out what happened in that game versus the Bills.
Yeah,
and
it could get very ugly. Go ahead, Mr. Sorry.
No, you're good. You're right. And also what happened all the way up to this point. So.
Yeah, and if there is something, if there is a smoking gun, 100% throw the book at him. But on the other hand, I say, after 5, there has been an investigation going on so far. I want to see actual proof of what happened, other than other than a quarterback got up and wobbled a little bit.
Right.
No, the funny part is they say the investigation is going to end in 2 weeks. That's the funny part about it. We already played another game, and the investigation's not even over with.
Yeah, it's now we got to investigate because you can't have that. You can't do that investigation in 2 days. That takes time. It's a lot of people they got to talk to. So
I get that. But now we have to get investigated for this on top of other investigations we're being investigated for. It's just
there's nothing to investigate here. He just got destroyed. And to me, that's a dirty play because he slammed him down.
Yeah, I mean, he did kind of whip him around sort of hard. I mean, I was thinking the same thing, Miss Vince.
No, they try to say that was
a clean snap. I don't think it was a dirty play.
No, I don't think it was a dirty play. I think Tua was Tua had a
He
wide
slammed
open
him down.
pocket, and
He held on to the ball too long. I'm sorry.
He held on to the ball too long. That was it. The biggest thing about Tua is not his size; it's about his willingness to just sit in the pocket. And I love Tua. I mean, I'm so happy for him this year, and that's what hurts me so much of what happened today is that he was sitting in the pocket when the Dolphins were going to be in field goal range, and he was slammed to the pocket by a 350-pound nose tackle that he saw coming.
Well, Mr. Bryant, I'll tell you this. This is one of the things that I've said about Tua, that he needs to learn how to get rid of the ball. He didn't do it in Alabama. He always wants to extend plays. He didn't do it his first year or last year. And that's something that he needs to do to protect himself. And he still hasn't
to that
done
point,
it.
Ms. Fins, and to Brian, at first, before I realized he was even injured, I was analyzing the play, and my first thought was, what the heck, with all that open space, is he standing there with the ball for to get sacked?
Yeah.
That's
from
a pure X's and O's standpoint, you know what I mean? That was my first impression in how I called my commentary, you know what I mean? And then it's like, well, I hate to say it, but that's the kind of thing that happens when, besides having a bad play, you end up being a target.
When you hold on to the ball too long, that's exactly what happens. I've got to take off, everybody, but I think
me too, man.
I
just wanted to say before I get off, Cat, man.
Hold on. Real quick,
Cat. I just wanted to say, man, I'm about to get off too, man. But you got to come on more often, man. We miss you, man. You're a staple of the community,
I'm
man.
sorry to do that to you.
Cap.
Sorry to do that to you. I'm sure you got a lot of fans around here, bro.
Cap for life. Damn. See,
Cap. He always is on. Yeah, he's always
Cap,
watching.
I see you, fella.
A lot of our audience watches you guys, and so you do have a lot of fans around here, bro. I tried to keep the panel a little small so it wouldn't, overwhelm you and all that. But appreciate you coming by. Make sure you tell everybody where they can find you and what times, and kind of give us an idea of the kind of stuff you guys do over there on the Fin side.
Paul and I are going to be on recapping the game tomorrow at noon Central on the Fin side, and we're not going to be happy about it, but we're still going to go through it, and we have ongoing draft coverage throughout the season as well. Love you guys. Love what you do.
Nice to meet you, Mr. Brian.
Have a good night.
Appreciate you, Brian. And you're my number one, man. You kept me going in Missouri when I was living up there, man. So I appreciate you. I'm a little starstruck myself, bro, just to let you know, man. So tell Paul I said hi, man, and appreciate you coming by tonight, bro.
Oh, man.
That's a good guy right there, man.
Yeah.
I like
Can I address Color? Can I address something? Lewis in the chat was saying something about, he's making his argument for Skyler being the quarterback. And listen, I just want to tell Lewis, I don't disagree with you, man. There's no debate that Skyler is the most talented quarterback on the roster. I agreed with that from the preseason. But the thing is, in the context of the season and where we're at, week 4, week 5, is it the right time to go to the experiment that will be Skyler? As talented as he is, it will be an experiment.
Lewis knows where I'm at on that question, is that I've said from the beginning, look, if it's a short-term injury and we still have the season in hand, I mean, we gotta see what Mike McDaniel can scheme up with Teddy. We just got to take that experience. But if we're talking about the rest of the season, I think actually Skyler gives us a better chance to continue winning on a consistent basis than Teddy would after the rookie hiccups get out of the way.
And that's
what I'd rather have, to that question I had earlier, I'd rather have Mike McDaniel wasting his time scheming up for Skyler than Teddy. That's my answer to that. But
I would watch.
I'm with Kahari on pumping the brakes. Go ahead, Greg.
I much rather watch Skylar Thompson be either successful or fail than watch Teddy Bridgewater for another
Agreed.
game.
I think we all can agree on that. But
I'd rather see what we got in Skyler, because if Tua's out for the rest of the year, let's say, I can't watch Teddy, man. I can't deal with
Are you a gambler, Greg? Greg, are you a gambler? Because you'll be rolling the dice if you make that decision there at 3-1.
See what we got in Skyler, man.
But you're sacrificing our 3-1 start.
One other thing to Kahari's point, you still have a really short leash on Teddy, do you not?
Correct. Yeah, absolutely.
And have a true, real game plan ready for Skylar Thompson. Like, have Skylar practicing with the ones, like Ali says, sort of like open up a competition.
Right. Like I said, even with Ali's point, Ali was legit. If there is a time to do it, looking at the schedule ahead, and given that you have some extra days this week, this might be the time to do it. You know what I'm saying? It makes sense.
First impression, Kahari. That was my first impression when I thought about it. You know, when it shifted from prayers for Tua to what are we going to do now? You know what I mean? So real quick, Spins, before you go, before you speak, I'm going to bring people that have been waiting back because I wanted to keep the panel kind of low for Brian. I don't want to overwhelm. They don't usually do panels, so I didn't want everybody blasting at him. You know what I mean? But we got Crypto here. Sure, he's got a lot to say about what's going on. I'm sure Alex does. And we might let Mark speak if everybody agrees that the Buffalo Bills.
No, the Bills fans were celebrating Tua's injury.
Not celebrating Tua's injury. That's not.
Crypto, how you doing, buddy?
Oh, hey, what's going on, everybody?
Hey,
what's happening?
Man, what do you think? I think I already know what you're going to say. But
what's up, Crypto?
Yeah. What's going on? I was going to say, well, it's you can't win them all, but you just got to find the silver lining in the cloud on what you can do despite what went down with our number one quarterback.
Do you think that the Heat? Do you think the Heat had anything to do with us losing the game tonight?
No, the cold.
Absolutely not. Not
okay, just wanted to
no
make sure.
Condition. Not at all. And we're not going to be we're not positioning the league.
Crypto, we're taking it on the chin, and they're like manufacturing the platitude that we're making excuses. You know what I mean? No, Teddy blew this game. We know why we lost.
Well, Teddy had a chance to win it as well. I mean, granted, we had a fourth quarter lead due to Teddy's doing as well, even though he couldn't overcome the second.
They want to imagine that we're making excuses because they know their team is terrible. Because I wouldn't be proud of the Cincinnati Bengals tonight if I was a Bengals fan. Bet that.
Agreed.
Yeah. Teddy had every opportunity to feel it.
I am still feeling way better about my team tomorrow morning than Cincy is about theirs. That's what Brian Catt was trying to say. Look at our schedule going forward. Look at the talent we do have at backup. Our season ain't over. There ain't no way.
Byron Jones back, though. We need to get Byron Jones back.
I want one of you all to walk into the locker room tomorrow in Miami and tell Tyreek Hill our season is over. See what answer you get.
No, but
we got depth at the quarterback position.
One other, so real quick, Alex, how you doing tonight, man? I know you must be just heartbroken, bro. And I'm being genuine with that. I'm not trying to josh you.
No, it's just that after with I obviously I'm pissed we lost, but it's just seeing the seeing Tua go down like that, it's
tragic.
Scary.
It's tragic.
It's just really scary because we tend to forget these are human beings that put on their pads and their helmets, and they have families that they go home to every night. They put on a show for us as fans. And I also, Color, I'm going to say something right now, and I know you may not like what I'm about to say, but I feel it has to be said. It's not about you or anybody on this panel. It's about what I saw on Twitter. We have some really scumbags in our fan base.
Man, you really got to get off Twitter, bro.
And
Twitter's a cesspool, Alex. You got to realize that.
Hold on. Yeah, I know, Crypto, but one of them is also a person that comes on regularly, and I think he knows exactly who I'm talking about too.
So Alex, you know how you all and you've given me this advice before too. In other words, you've agreed with it. You know how everybody tells me that I got to stay out of chat.
Yeah, I understand
because I should expect people to be hateful towards me and all that, and I should stay. I got the same advice for the people that come on panels and complain about what they see on Twitter. You just got to get off Twitter, bro.
But Color, I get it, bro. I understand, and you're absolutely right, bro. And I agree with you 100%. But the one person who I'm actually discussing to has come on a regular basis, and he has trolled the fan base left and right. His takes on trading Jalen Waddle and also this and that, trading to it, and then all of a sudden you want to go on Twitter and say that all the things like Greer should be fired.
Caller, check your Twitter, please.
I'm sorry, Miss Min.
I mean,
check your Twitter.
Listen, Alex, I know you're upset, but listen, I just want to say this also, guys. Saying a player, I don't believe a player can hit a deep pass or the player's ability is less than is one thing. Even if you disagree, that's criticism. But here's another thing: calling a player lazy,
keep on talking, Pete,
or calling a player
Pete.
By like some disparaging nickname, right? When you get to casting aspersions, to me that is hate. But
no,
in this community,
wait a minute though,
but in this, hold on a second, color. But in this community, people call the people who are questioning the ability the haters, and then they pile on with the obvious hate and mask it as hate. So just, I mean, if you look at the stuff that people on Twitter and on the chat say about Teddy, a lot of that stuff is borderline hateful rhetoric. But nobody says there's this hate campaign against Teddy.
Right.
It's just that he sucks.
No,
and I'm not saying he's great. And I'm not saying that he's great.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, you're right, bro. But the thing about it is that you got people celebrating his injury.
No, that's disgusting, dude. That's disgusting.
And then also, Pete. Yeah, I'm gonna say his name. Pete is the one who actually I'm referring to. Pete is the one who I'm referring to with his dumb tweets.
What is Pete the one that said Greer should be fired?
No, not only that, why don't you look at all of Pete's tweets today?
Well, Pete,
after the
Pete you know Pete will come up here and answer to that.
Yeah. I wish he would.
But here's the thing, bro, about the people saying Greer should be fired. Look, man, people are
and
upset right now, dude. Look, you got to realize people are upset right now, and when people are this upset about something, they have to assign blame. We saw it in 9/11. We saw it in all kinds of tragedies that have happened throughout the ages. People, when we can't explain something, have to assign blame. So I wouldn't be so necessary. Like I said, you just got to stay off Twitter. Maybe just stay off Twitter for a couple days because it's only going to ramp up, Alex. It's only going to get worse.
Yeah,
the firestorm we're about to endure. The firestorm we're about to endure because of the decision to play Tua tonight is going to be I would just say go take a vacation or something.
But at the end of the day, I mean, there's nothing.
I'm not trying to belittle you, Alex. I'm just offering friendly.
No, I know you're not.
But it's the cesspool that is Twitter.
He starts a space saying, "Come cry 2 years. Come cry 2 years." Like, bro, like really?
Yeah, that's fine. That's cool. I understand you're mad, Alex. Can I just go back to can I just go make a comment about the Skylar Thompson and Teddy Bridgewater conversation again?
Thank you. Yes.
Because this is again, it's not that it pisses me off. It's just I don't understand where we're even thinking about. Because the conversation now is, oh well, look at our upcoming games. And we should make it a competition. Well, let me ask everybody on the panel, because maybe it's just me. But what is OTAs? Would we consider that a competition?
Yeah.
What is training camp?
Somewhat,
is that a competition?
Yeah.
Hold on, Alex. Is training camp a competition?
Yes.
No,
is the preseason a competition?
Yes.
That's an excellent point.
How much more competition do we need to see that Skylar Thompson is better than fucking Teddy Bridgewater?
Lewis, do you remember the play? Do you remember? Hold on. Lewis, do you remember the play?
I don't understand what we're talking about here.
Think about this, Lewis. Lewis, hold on.
One at a time, guys. We were doing so well.
Hold on, Crypto. Lewis, do you remember the play on 3rd and 10 where Teddy pulls the ball down and scrambles to the left and converts that 3rd down on a scramble? This is the same play. This is the same kind of play that a more talented Tua, right? Everybody agrees that Tua is better than Teddy at this point, right? But that Tua didn't make that same play. He holds on to the ball and takes that sack. Now, why am I bringing this example up, Lewis? It's not because I'm trying to say that Teddy is better than Tua. I'm saying, though, that Teddy is more experienced than Skylar. Teddy's experience is almost as valuable a trait as Skyler's talent. I agree with you that Skyler is the more talented quarterback, and we saw that confirmed in the offseason, in the OTAs, in the training camp. There's no doubt that Skyler's talent is ready to hit the field, but right now we're in the middle of the NFL season, and if you listen, Mike McDaniel may make the decision that you're asking for, Lewis, but if we make that decision to go to Skyler at this point, that is the bigger gamble, is what I'm saying. And that may be the way we end up going. And if we're going, I'm all behind Skyler because I like you believe in his talent.
I'm with you.
I believe in his
and
talent.
I understand KP, but the problem is,
guys, real quick, hold on, real quick, Alex, before you respond to that. Clickbait says thank you for the $2 donation. Clickbait says, was finally beating the Bills worth it now, clowns? And this is the point I'm trying to make to Alex. This kind of statement is the kind of statement you should be more concerned about than what Pete's saying. Okay? Because what Clickbait is suggesting is that we extended Tua's playing time last week and jeopardized his health in order to beat the Bills. That's what Clickbait is suggesting. And that is far worse a suggestion than anything Pete is saying.
He was not concussed.
Yeah, can I jump in?
But thank you for the donation, Clickbait. Appreciate it.
He was not concussed last week. How many times have people got to? How many times do I have to say this to people?
I'm not saying he was. I'm not saying he was. Though.
They were saying that they didn't take the precautions.
I'm just telling you that
statement going to be questioned.
That statement that Clickbait made is far worse than what Pete is saying.
I agree. I understand. I'm sorry, bro.
Hey guys.
Man,
thanks for having
Go ahead, Dolphins Pete. I'm sorry, I didn't introduce you. Go ahead, Dolphins
Pete. The NFL since
I've been on before.
And then I do want to get after Dolphins Pete. I do want to get Mark a chance to speak. But go ahead, Dolphins Pete.
Yeah, no,
I was going to say the NFL.
Tua had a back injury. I thought that was a cheap hit that should have been flagged on the Bengals player because that was pile driving. It was done with an intent to injure. It did give him. Now he has a concussion, so that's reality.
I kind of thought the same thing, but most people are saying just rough football. You know what I mean?
Clean hit.
Now, everyone has to remember.
Yeah, that was a clean hit. That wasn't
okay, guys.
They threw a penalty on the play before.
Can I offer? Hold on, let Dolphins Pete finish. But can I just offer some balance on that? The old school in me, the old man in me, is like, it's just football. That was a clean hit. The new paradigm says, no, that was a terrible, dirty hit. You know what I mean? So go ahead, Dolphins Pete. Finish what you were saying.
I actually totally agree with that. But these are the rules we have, and it can't be like not enforced with Cam Newton or not enforced with Tua. But remember the Hakeem Grant game. I don't have any respect for the Bengals. I have zero respect for their coach. I think they came out with a game plan of intent to injure Tua. They didn't care if it was a late hit. And they did the same thing to Hakeem Grant, and that's why Brian Flores emptied the whole bench.
I thought you couldn't drive your body into a player. If you look at the play now, you see this. What I'm saying, you're all gonna turn me and it's gonna sound like I'm a Tua hater. It's a 300-some-pound defensive tackle that is spinning a quarterback around to make a tackle. He didn't land on Tua. He played. Okay. Basically, Tua landed on his head. It's not that
Lewis,
guy's fault.
Okay, Lewis, can I just say I 100%
to the ground.
Hold on, Alex. I got this.
I mean, how do you want him to put a pillow under there and set him down?
No,
I mean, Jesus Christ.
No.
What are we fucking talking about?
You guys are spending energy on nothing. If you would have let me finish,
my pillow guy was already at the stadium.
Crypto, stop. Crypto. If you would have let the host finish what he was saying, Alex, we all could have avoided the energy that was just spent. Because what I was going to say to Lewis was, we all probably tend to agree with you. But the thing of it is our defensemen have been flagged for far worse or for far less.
Yes,
that's true.
You know what I mean? That's all we're trying to say. I don't disagree with what you're saying. I'm just saying it by today's standard, based on what we've been flagged for in the past, that should have been flagged.
The Cincinnati Bengals got flagged for 3 roughing penalties this game already.
I'm not saying I disagree with you, Lewis. Again,
I hear you.
What I'm saying is, it's already been
just to clarify.
2 plays prior to that, they was flagged for roughing.
Gotcha, Crypto. Now I want to give Chris Delacus a chance to speak because he jumped in before, and he's a Dolphins fan before Mark.
What's going on, guys?
Go ahead, Chris Delacus. How you doing, man?
Our emotions are all-time high right now. I think this is the highest they've ever been since probably the Flores firing. That we've really have come for blood in the water with our own fan base. Listen, at the end of the day, Tua is a human being. Obviously, no matter which side you're on, you got to pray for the kid because obviously, he's a good kid. Hopefully for a speedy recovery. But that hit tonight, bro, what I saw, I thought he was paralyzed. I swear to God, I was like, this guy is not when they got the gurney out. When he had his hands in the air, I thought he was never going to get up. And
yeah, that was a nerve reaction.
For me, I don't think they should. People are saying oh, he'll be back. I'm like, I would not even come back this season. I don't even want him to be back this season. That type of hit, compound that with last week's hit, and God forbid you compound that with another hit he might take in the future in the NFL. That's scary.
Chris Delacus, this is why I really enjoy you coming around when you do, because what you're saying right now is something that a subject I wanted to breach, but me with the image I have in the community could never say something like that. But to be honest with you, I think we really need to think or be prepared for them saying that it's a season-ending injury.
I mean,
it's not.
Let's think of it this way. Let's break it down.
At least the 3 game. To give him 3 days.
Well, real quick, real quick to clarify, what I meant, Chris Delacus, was that everybody knows your image in the community. So you're the type of person that is kind of quote unquote allowed to say that. You know what I mean? So I thank you for bringing up the subject. You know what I mean?
Football is football at the end of the day. I think Tyreek Hill said it perfectly. I mean, this is our part-time job. Family comes first. And right now, Tua is injured. You want somebody. You just, at the end of the day, you don't want to risk it. I mean, if you're involved in a car accident, I mean, you're looking at months of therapy, making sure that he's okay, observing brain matter, making sure that everything is working properly. And we're putting this kid on a fucking airplane right after suffering 2 concussions within 4 days of each other. And that, to me, is
Johnny,
not...
what's a concussion?
It wasn't a concussion?
He did not suffer a concussion Sunday. He did not suffer a concussion on Sunday against Buffalo.
I don't know about that. I don't want to...
I disagree with that. You're calling Mike McDaniel a liar. That's what you're saying.
First of all,
you're calling
McDaniel would have never put him back.
I am not calling McDaniel.
He would have never put him back.
Finish?
Out
guys,
there. I'm sorry, John. John, my bad.
One at a time, guys, please.
I'm sorry, John.
Because listen, I'm not a doctor, but I look at medical records all day, and I have to speak with clients who have suffered brain injuries and things like that. My point is, McDaniel is not a doctor. He's getting his information from doctors. So if a doctor is being told from not Mike McDaniel, but by somebody else, just clear Tua, and Mike McDaniel, who's just a new head coach, is not going to force himself to tell a doctor, oh yeah, clear Tua. Maybe it was somebody else in the organization that told the doctor. And also,
Tua is not a doctor. And also, guys,
were you finished?
Let me wrap it up real quick, and then he could go.
Sure, go ahead. I got you next, Laurie.
All I'm saying is that Mike McDaniel might have himself been fed misinformation from somebody within the organization. That's it. Because he's not a doctor at the end of the day. He's taking doctor's advice, eating it, seeing what they're saying, and then making a decision on it. If the doctor is telling Mike McDaniel he's good to go, what is Mike McDaniel going to say? No, he's not good to go.
Right. And I want to expand on that further in a second, but I want to give Kahari a chance to respond. Before I do that, thanks, Roach, for the $5 donation. Tua seems to be unable to protect himself in the game. This leads to injuries, thus he is injury prone. Thanks for the thought there, Roach. Appreciate that very much.
And just to add on to what you said, Chris Delacus, also Tua is not a doctor. And one of the things that Andrew Whitworth brought up at the end of the game is that sometimes the players are their own worst enemy. You, as a player, young guy who's starting on a team, you want to be out there, you want to play, and you will find ways to fake a concussion test, right? And if a doctor is fooled or if your coach is convinced they'll put you back in the game because everybody's depending on you. You see what I'm saying?
Do you
And
know what a
the point that
concussion
was being
test
made,
is? Do you know
the
what a
point that was,
concussion test is?
well,
You know
the
what a
point that
concussion
was,
test is without an MRI
Andrew,
or
hold on, Chris Salakis. Andrew Whitworth explained a situation where he was able to get past the concussion test, and it was a teammate of his. It was a teammate of his who actually saw that he wasn't right and told the coach, "Look, this guy's not right, and I'm not confident playing with this guy." And that was the only reason why Andrew Whitworth was taken off the field. So don't tell me that you cannot get past. I know it's a difficult test to get over on someone, but it can be done. And sometimes you need to have that person outside of the of both sides to come in and protect the players from themselves.
Right.
And that
Hey,
may
real
be
quick, guys. Real quick, Cameron, if you're still out there, somebody dropped off, so I can actually get you in now. I wasn't trying to avoid you. We just had a full back panel. But real quick, I don't want this to blow up quite yet, Chris Delakis. So maybe you want to just hesitate on responding to it for a second.
Yeah, you're good.
Somebody is asking for.
I'm not looking for fights tonight. We're all.
I got you, but it's a donation, so I want to read it just because it's a donation at the very least, if you don't mind. But you don't have to respond. It's just somebody making a statement that that's contrary to what you were saying. So if you want to respond, that's fine. But as you don't want to give the energy to it, neither do I. So, but as it was kindness to somebody's heart to give us a $5 donation, I'd be remiss if I didn't read it. Thank you, aka Hobbs. He says, weird earlier today on Twitter when a neuroscientist said Tua shouldn't be out there. John C. basically called him an idiot. Okay. So we got that out of the way. You're welcome to respond to it.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. I basically told the doctor word for word, and the COVID vaccine works too. Just me being on Twitter, that's fine. It's just the way I am. But at that time, it was just from what I was getting my information from, they said, he was fine to go. He was good to go.
Right.
The doctor ended up being right at the end of the day. But at the same time,
fair enough. I mean, look, we're all dealing with information from people.
But to be fair, I deal with doctors every single day.
Don't you do like?
Let me ask you a question, everybody.
I do personal injury, and I literally deal with neurologists, head specialists, all of them. And I mean, let me just say one thing: I have doctors that contradict one another all the time. So when a doctor comes out and says, I'm 100% right, or this is what's going to happen, I can give you 20 doctors right behind him that are going to refute exactly what he's saying.
Course.
Nobody knows unless you see the medical records of what is being said in that paperwork. That's what I'm trying to say.
That's kind of what I was saying to Alex was we really truly don't know the nature of last week's injury, and we never probably will. But before you respond to that, Alex, thank you again to Ralph Torres for the $5 donation. Reality is Tua is not long-term option for Finns. Problem is Tua doesn't have the time, so he's going to have to decide either football or retire. And look, guys, this is a really valid point. I mean, at what point does Tua's family and his friends, urge him to hang up the cleats? Because look, you might be a great quarterback. I'm not disputing what we saw tonight. Was a great display. He was continuing proving to us what we've seen over the last 3 weeks. And so to be honest with you, we were poised to roll that team, putting up points before the half and then putting up points after the half if Tua is still our quarterback. So, but that doesn't mean
hold on, Color. I want to stop you there.
Hit in the head. If you get hit in the head and that's how it is, that's how it is. Hey, I didn't want to quit playing football.
To give Teddy Bridgewater credit, Teddy Bridgewater did lead us to points and got us in the end zone.
I'm not trying to litigate that. I'm not trying to litigate that right now. But everybody could agree that if Tua is still in the game, we would have absolutely rolled the Bengals.
We would have.
Yes, I agree.
Tua would have won that
momentum
game,
was just
100%.
there.
The
You know what I mean?
Listen, the offense. That's another thing I just want.
That was a nip and tuck game. I'm not there yet. Go ahead. You're entitled to your opinion.
Sure, and that's why I didn't want to litigate it now. But I have fair opinion, Crypto.
And this is coming from someone that thinks that Tua did have a concussion on Sunday against the Bills. How does Tua come out and still ball out the way he was? I know he threw an interception, but he still had everything going. His mechanics were there. His rhythm was there. He wasn't falling over. Everything seemed perfectly fine with him. if he was still concussed, or if there should have been something that would have shown that right before the hit, like, Tua is off today, or like Tua is just not the same type, like something would have shown that at the end of the Buffalo game or during the game before he got injured tonight. So this, again, coming from me, who thinks that he still was concussed, do you guys think that he was back to 100% at the start of this game?
I don't think so.
I don't think have to go on that.
I don't think any NFL player is 100%.
Okay, guys, Mark, I think Mark has patiently waited long enough. He's going to tell us why we really lost.
No,
it's going to be irrelevant,
I'm going to
but
say
we'll hear him out. Go ahead, Mark.
The first thing I want to say is, my prayers for Tua for a speedy and a healthy recovery. And I kind of pulled over the Bills website or the Bills chat room, and to a person, everybody was sending, prayers and good feelings. I don't know. I heard some stuff that on Twitter that was some negative, but I'd be embarrassed about that as a Bills fan, as a human, that anybody would say anything negative to somebody who was injured to that extent. Now, to go on to the points, I want to make a point about Skylar. Now, I'm of the belief that Tua is going to be out at least 4 games. I think it could be season-ending, to be honest with you, because you don't mess around with your health. Whether he had a concussion in the Buffalo game, nobody's really going to know. I mean, the NFLPA is going to really investigate it, and there is going to be some hard times coming up, I think, for Dolphin Nation. But if Tua is out for an extended period or the season, then I think what you really have to do is you really have to roll with Skylar, because we obviously know that Teddy's not going to be around at the end of this year, and you got to know what you have in Skylar, and we really don't know if Tua starts to take a look at this and say, well, I'm married, my family, and I want to have children, and I want to have a long life. And I go back to something that goes back many years ago with a boxer by the name of Max Baer, if any of you remember him. Max Baer supposedly had like a killer punch, and there were a couple of fights that he was in where he actually knocked somebody's brain off its brain stem from a punch. And I have concerns, for Tua's long-term health. I mean, God forbid, he's a quarterback and and the like, but he's got family and a life in front of him to not have to take these kinds of hits that he has to be taking.
You're right, and thank you for the kind words, Mark. And also, I do go on Twitter, but I don't spend all day on there because it is toxic. But I see a lot of people in our comment section, Bills fans. We went at it pretty hard on each other last week. All of us did.
We did.
And nobody went as hard on us than Josh Allen is the next Elway. And so I kind of gauge my litmus on people like him who's throwing up 3 prayers emoji right now. So, shout out to Josh Allen as the next Elway. We appreciate the prayers, and I'm sure Tua does too.
Color, I wanted to say this real quick. I wanted to say this real quick about the concussion thing. The NFL has each game neurologists that go to each game on Sunday and Monday. Okay, and they evaluate the players. And they come down from the booth to evaluate the players in the dressing room if they fear he has a concussion. Okay, so it's up to the neurologist from the NFL to clear the player if he's ready to go back in or not. Now, they cleared Tua last Sunday because obviously they checked everything. They went up and down from A to Z to check the concussion, and because there's a couple steps that they have to pass, and he passed all the steps in that test on Sunday. Don't you think that if he was really concussed, he would have made that pass to Waddle on that 40-yard?
Well, hold on a second, Alex, because a concussion doesn't make you crippled. No, hold on. A concussion doesn't make you crippled. You can come back to your senses. To answer that question, But also, I wanted to elaborate. Like I said, I would expand the question earlier when Chris Delacus had brought it up, and you gave me a perfect segue to do it regarding the NFL. And I want to start with Cameron's opinion on this because he just came in and hasn't had a chance to speak yet. But this is why I think that everybody has to remember that the NFL Players Association is not the NFL; it is the Players Union. And its mission is to look out for the players. And so what's going to end up happening, because you bring up a really good point, Alex, and Chris Delacus did earlier too, but sort of I wanted to expand on it because it's not just the Dolphin team doctors that have to waive it.
Of course. It's not just
and
them.
So at some point an independent NFL doctor cleared Tua to play last week. And I would argue had to clear Tua to play this week.
Is that can I ask you?
Well, yeah. That's
hold
a
on.
perfect example of them slipping through the cracks.
Is that true?
Also, I wanted to ask one more question.
I want to get John's question.
But is that true? Because if that's the case, then because everyone's pointing the finger at the Miami Dolphins, everyone's pointing their finger at Mike McDaniel, and there's a lot of us in the fan base that are pointing their finger at Mike McDaniel. If that's true, that there's an independent NFL doctor on scene to clear for concussion protocol, and there's one during the the off time between the 4 days before Cincinnati that said Tua is good to play, then that's on the NFL.
Well, that's my point, Chris Loggs. And people are asking if it's true. If people are asking if it's true, and from what I thought we saw that on a news report 2 years ago that's how things were now. I mean, they got guys in suits that come down from the NFL and tap a player on the shoulder and remove a guy from the game, whether the coaches like it or not. So, to my understanding, the NFL independent doctor has to clear that player in concussion protocol to come back, if I'm not mistaken. Go ahead, Cameron.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me on, Color, man. I've been in the comments going crazy. Like, it's been a rough 4 weeks. It's been a great, just a very energizing 4 weeks, just watching the Dolphins play. Who else has had this tough of a schedule to start out? So for them to be sitting at 3-1, I think
should have been 4-0.
Spot on.
It all should have.
But if anybody, we would have thought. If anybody, to Cameron's point, if anybody thought we were going to be at this spot for real at the first end of the first quarter of the season, man, gosh.
Yeah, and it's like, where's the flexibility from the NFL, knowing the circumstances with the hurricane? I'm praying for everybody in Florida right now. I'm praying for Tua. I'm praying for the rest of the team, and him just as a leader wanting to be out there with his guys and putting himself on the line like that, I think is a detriment because everybody's banged up. If you looked at that injury report for the Dolphins, it was like almost 20 people on there.
Yeah.
And just coming out of that slobber
That's on the
knocker
NFL, though. That's on the NFL for the short week because they have to have ratings for Thursday. Move it to a Saturday.
And Chris Delacus, you just answered my question, or at least started to. And this is what I'm suggesting. And yes, I am NFL suggesting this. If there is an independent doctor that has to clear Tua, should we not think about how much the NFL has to gain or lose from a guy like Tua for this league when it comes to the comeback he was making in showing out and being the number one quarterback in the league going forward?
Right.
I mean, how much does the NFL stand to lose from a guy like Tua going down and not being available to be on the TV? Does he not sell quite a bit of jerseys?
Tua versus Burrow was the sell.
I mean, people want to look at the Dolphins all the time, but if there is an independent doctor that signed off on it, at what point does the player association say, hey, for the same reason we're dogging the Dolphins or suspecting them, it could also apply to the NFL where there's profit sharing?
There is actually. I just posted it in there. There. Every single game, there has to be an unaffiliated neurotrauma consultant at each game, and they're the only ones besides the team doctor that are allowed to go ahead and clear somebody to go back in. They work in conjunction with the NFL team physicians to improve diagnosis and manage concussions.
Right. Now, Ms. Finns, because they've done all that, they can easily throw their hands up now and say, well, whatever do you mean, Color? Look at what we've done. We could be looking the other way because of the money.
Do you know what the concussion protocol is? Do you know what the concussion protocol is? 24, 17, 36. Remember these numbers? I'm going to ask you about them again in 15 minutes. And then I'm going to look, and during those 15 minutes, I'm going to, check on your nerves. I'm going to do the nerve test. I'm going to look into your eyes. I'm going to see how you're responding. And then if you repeat those numbers back to me, then you're clear concussion protocol.
Right.
So let me ask you a question.
Can I ask a quick question?
How can you truly diagnose a concussion if you don't have a CT scan, if you don't have a magnetic resonating imaging machine there on site? You can't.
Yeah.
You have to go to the hospital and get the diagnostic readouts to
which
determine
flies
what's
in the
going
face
on
of
in
all
brain.
the
Because
which
if
flies
there
in the face, which flies in the face of all the measures the NFL has taken that
Because
misspins
if there
this
is a
week.
brain bleed that goes undiagnosed and a player, God forbid, later on, years from now, dies on the field and he clears concussion protocol, that's on the NFL.
Bro, how do y'all think Sonny Bono died? He got in a ski accident, hit his head, went home that night, and died.
Yeah, who was that just passed away? Was that Craig Sager? Or no, not Craig Sager. Bob Saget. He fell down.
Saget, I'm not sure.
Yes, he did.
Bob Saget fell in
real
his
quick,
bathtub, hit the back of his head.
much love. Hold on,
Craig
guys.
Sager is
1
the
second. I
NBA
want to give
analyst.
Crypto a chance because I've been cutting off Crypto, so I want to give him a chance to say something real quick. And before I do that, much love to Kevin Lee for the $20 donation. Prayers for Tua. Question panel: do you guys see the similarities in the hip injury and the head and neck injury? He held the ball too long on both occasions. Also, do you all think if Teddy starts, we plummet weeks ahead? Go ahead, Crypto. I'll let you take that one.
No, I was going to say, just to add that actually Craig Sager is the NBA analyst, but that's neither here nor there. But I was going to say that what Ms. Fins was saying earlier about the independent doctors, then the follow up to that would be, how did he slip through the cracks if he, to Kahari's point, when he was allowed to be able to, does he have the capacity to manipulate himself out of a protocol?
Well, that's what Christolakis is saying. The only real way to test
the capacity to do that.
But that's what Christolakis is saying. The only real way to test is have the equipment there to properly look at it.
Correct.
Right, but that would be saying that
I've had a concussion.
Tua will be savvy enough to manipulate the protocol to get himself back into the game.
What that suggests is no different than a drug addict saying the right things to get out of drug rehab. You know,
when you have a concussion, your balance is completely off.
Yeah,
which led me to believe he had a concussion that game against Buffalo, which is why he fell to the ground.
Guys, well, I have a question.
Last week.
I have a question.
He was already on the ground this week.
I'm not a medical doctor, and I don't think anybody on the panel is a medical doctor either. But I know the case was back injury versus head injury, right? But why separate the two into two disparate camps?
That's what I keep asking, Kahari, because I'm not a doctor either. But the last time I remember from high school biology is that the spinal cord is connected to the brainstem.
It could be. That's my thoughts. If it's spinal, then go ahead.
Yeah, because essentially, when you're dealing with a back injury, you obviously listen. You're right. The nerves are connected to the back part of the brain. But however, when you're dealing with a concussion, you're looking inside. What you're supposed to be doing is looking inside the skull with a CT scanner or an MRI machine. That's what you're supposed to be doing.
Right.
When you're looking with a back injury could push nerves out of their what is it called? Their disc.
I'm dealing with sciatica right now.
No. So like when you get a back injury, you can either get a bulging disc or a herniation. What ends up happening, it's like a jelly donut. The gel will push out of the disc.
Guys, quick question for you guys.
And press upon your nerve. And press upon your nerves. And when it presses upon your nerves, then you could, your nerves could jerk. You could lose sensibility. You could lose a whole bunch of things. It could travel to your arms. It could travel to your legs. It can be connected if there's a sever of that nerve. For that to happen, though, you would know if that happens. I mean, he wouldn't be able to get it.
Right, because he'd be
It's like a
paralyzed
boxer.
or something.
He got knocked out.
Guys,
like
real quick, Chris Lucas, to that question, before you go, Alex, to that question, did you guys notice the first time he got hit when they went low on his legs. Did you
that was
notice
the
when he
play
fell to the
before.
ground, his knee basically locked up and hit the ground and stiffened his back?
Yeah, he
Did
basically
you all notice that?
I
He
saw
fell.
It's like a
that.
slingshot
He
effect.
fell down
He
Indian
was
style.
slingshot into the ground. Yeah.
He fell down Indian style. It was a
No, I'm
very
talking about
awkward
And they
before
threw a
the
flag.
right
Yeah, it was a
before
roughing the
that,
passer.
Kahari, where he kind of sat down Indian style, like Christolakis has said. He landed on his knee. His knee took the brunt, but it like stiffened his back. Like you can see his back totally straighten up, like it had
Right.
no give.
Right.
And then later he takes the hit to the ground in the head. We could be
Listen,
looking at a similar
I-
situation to
for
last
the
week,
fir-
where
for the-
he takes the back injury first and then gets hit in the head, and it's like, oh, where are we at?
I'm
You
gonna
know
be
what I mean?
honest. I'm gonna be straight with you guys. I have no idea what the fuck is going on because I saw this kid go on a stretcher, and now he's walking out of the hospital. That is fucking insane. Doctors are gonna tell you first thing. You're gonna stay for an overnight. We're gonna monitor your situation.
Well, yeah, bro. They
The fact
stabilized his
fucking-
head for a
and
reason.
people are coming at me saying, "Oh, the doctors."
I don't want to ever hear about Tua's toughness again.
How the fuck
kid
did
is
the
tough.
doctors let him leave that hospital? That's
The
my
kid is tough. That's why.
Yeah.
The kid is
You know,
tough.
and I also want to point out, did you notice they just took his face mask off? It looks to me like the new helmets are sort of designed to be a medical device for stabilization. They just use the helmet. They just strap the helmet down to the thing, and we're like, forget the ear blocks. We'll just keep the helmet on, strap it down to the table, and keep his head stabilized that way.
Everyone here loves the kid. He's a good kid. There's no denying that. But at the end of the day, you have to ask yourself, is it worth another compound concussion? What is the next one going to do to you?
No. If we truly say we care about this guy, no, it's not worth it, man.
And I'm not a doctor. I got to see what the records say. I got to see what the diagnostic tests say. It just doesn't make sense to me that he just walked out of the hospital. That to me just makes it doesn't. 1 + 1 doesn't equal 2 here. Because
if I was the team, I wouldn't allow him to play at least for the next 3 weeks.
And then get on a fucking plane.
It's a simple matter of what Barry.
Never
It's a simple
overlook the
matter of
human
what
spirit.
Barry
The human spirit.
Hold on,
Christolakis.
just a moment, Corey. It's a simple matter of what Barry Brennan's saying right now. It's not worth his future life. He literally could have been killed tonight.
Yes.
People can't forget
His
that.
body locked up. That's what happens. Sometimes it happens, not all the time. But sometimes when you get a brain injury like that, your body and your nerves will lock up.
Bro, I thought his fingers were dislocated.
No, that was his nerves actually.
Yeah, I
locked
know.
Up,
I know.
and it was really scary. Actually,
Yeah, that was a scary look.
And guys, I just want to point this out, and I'm not trying to start shit, but I kind of really want to start shit. Listen, people in the comment section, chill the fuck out. Chill the fuck out, because karma is a fucking bitch, and I am not wishing anything upon you or yours or wherever it is, but do not put that fucking negative energy out there.
Right.
Please. This
I
is
agree
like
with you
a really
100%.
fucking sensitive time for everybody, and just read the fucking room and get a fucking conscience.
Here's the thing. Good point, John. Now, here's the thing. You want to know something? Here's my take on all this. Kill the Thursday night games.
Right.
Yeah,
Kill the Thursday night games.
Yeah.
You got to kill the Thursday night game. If the
Put him
NFL
profit
really
over
cares
people.
about their players, they
You know
kill the
what?
Thursday
You
night
guys
game.
make a great. I'm glad you all brought that up, because I am 100% in agreement with you now. Like, forget just based on the quality of football. We just saw an example why you don't have the short turnaround. This is too dangerous a sport for that.
Especially when you consider the brutality that was on Sunday.
I want to give Jonathan 561 a chance to talk. Jonathan, you don't happen to be the one going by Tiger in the chat, are you?
No.
Oh, okay, got you.
Thank you for giving me the chance to talk real quick. A few things I just wanted to point out. Obviously, that was a horrible injury that happened to Tua. I think a lot of things that people are not talking about is if Tua does come back from this injury, if he does, say this season, which I don't think he should come back. But if he does, what about his mental state after, taking that big blow that he did? Yeah. I think that will definitely affect this game.
To be honest, I don't think, to be fair, the mental fit question is not as big as a factor as, God forbid, what if you get hit again and now you're really paralyzed? I mean, this guy. Do
you agree that he should be coming back?
Hey guys, I'm gonna get off.
Again, I am not a
night, guys.
doctor,
Have
but
a good night,
if I
Alex.
was Tua's dad or
Take care,
mother
guys.
or wife, I would be running every single test under the sun to know that, and ask every doctor 100%, am I clear to play football again? Not just go to the hospital and then walk out of the hospital and pretend like everything's okay.
Sorry, John. I don't mean to interrupt you. I'm just letting Tiger know more expediently. I don't see you backstage, buddy. Come back up, hit the link again, because I don't see you back here.
1 second. 1 second.
Make sure you're in the right StreamYard.
1 second. Can you see me now?
No, I'm talking about Tiger.
Oh, okay.
Tiger
but
Hood.
moving forward, I agree with Miss Fins. I think they need to split reps between Teddy B and Skylar and just kind of see who rises to the occasion, because the team that they have in front of them with Waddle and Tyreek there, like I could be throwing the ball to them and counting on them to get open and getting separation and push the ball down the field.
Teddy
I
don't
would
even
like
look
to
like
see the
he
run
cares.
game.
Teddy
why
doesn't
doesn't he
look
play
like
Gaskins? Why doesn't he
No,
use
but
Gaskins?
like, bro, he
Gaskins
just
is
does
physical.
not look like he looks like a worse Brissett, bro. I'd rather have Brissett than Teddy Bridgewater. I'm gonna be straight with you.
Yeah,
like that the way he
You
ran
don't
that
even think
offense
if
like that.
McDaniel has a chance to really crack the books on him, he could do something.
I think Skylar Thompson. I think
Hold on,
Skylar
Tiger.
Thompson is hungry and wants to win and wants to prove himself. Give the kid a chance. And Skylar Thompson, he looks like he has that dog.
He'll prove himself.
He was the offseason player of the offseason. He was the number one player in the offseason, according to the NFL.
Okay, so real quick, guys, before I'm going to give the floor to Tiger in a second, because I believe it might be his first time up. But Ralph Torres, thank you for the hold on, guys. Thank you for the $5 donation, Ralph Torres. It's to his decision, not Fins, not NFL. Some people jump off a plane, some don't. Tua is a dog. I can't see him retiring. He will be back quicker than y'all think, I guess, is what he really meant.
Ralph needs to read Super Bowl's last comment, though, in the chat.
So go ahead.
In color saying that, right, he's 100% right. Let's move on. Skylar Thompson or, not Teddy fucking Bridgewater, but maybe Skylar. Skylar's the one. I don't know. What do you think? Hey, Color.
I'm totally indifferent, but I do believe Skylar is far more talented than Teddy.
Way more talented.
Teddy's gonna.
He lost the game.
Let me tell you
He
something.
threw that
Those deep
interception.
shots, Teddy. Those deep, even the interception that Teddy threw wasn't even inbounds. Like the guy has no deep ball accuracy.
Hey, stop reminding us of that badass.
I don't know. I think if we're all gonna continue, if we're all gonna hype up McDaniel the way we did, and we all believe in him,
exactly.
I'd really like a chance to get him 100%.
McDaniel's not a stupid guy. If Teddy ain't it, he'll move.
But that's the thing, Christolakis, is I'll trust whatever decision McDaniel makes at this point.
Right.
If he wants to go full boat with Skylar, you know how I feel about Skylar. I got the man's autograph. You know what I mean? Like, I'm all board with Skylar.
I will say this. I will say
Hold
this.
on, guys, one at a time.
I will say
real quick, and then I want Jonathan to respond.
and then I'm gonna bounce off real quick. They did activate Skylar tonight, which leads me again. If you really want to follow the breadcrumbs, if you didn't think Tua was hurt, why activate Skylar?
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to be caught off guard again. But what I don't understand is, I think we're already getting an indicator is what McDaniel's plans are, because why would you not give Skylar that last minute 50 to start it on the game speed? You know what I mean? Other than an onside kick, we had no chance to win the game at that point.
Can I answer that question with you, Color?
Go ahead, Ms. Fins, and then I got to get Jonathan in next because he's been waiting patiently.
Yeah,
I'm
going. Good night, guys. Have a good night.
Take it easy, Chris Delagus.
Peace, Chris.
It's very simple. It's kind of the same thing when it was Tua's first year. When you're gonna bring in a rookie in, you want to give him the most amount of time in. You don't want to just throw him out, the lamb to the slaughter, if you will. So he knew if Tua goes down, I'm ready with Teddy. Whatever we can do with Teddy, we'll go ahead and do it with Teddy. But come up, the next day, then I'm gonna set this up and take this next 10 days to make sure I have both guys ready. And I wouldn't be surprised if Skyler does end up being the starter come next week, or
Oi,
just be ready to come in afterwards. So.
hey, sorry, Miss Friends, can I say something? Oi, we all know, we want Tua the way he's playing right now, but hey, the way Tua got injured, like we only got one option now, like literally, if we going for Super Bowl or we going for Trump Bowl, I don't know what we're going for.
Bro, how many Jaegers did you have?
Yeah, we're going for Super Bowl. We all going for Super Bowl. If anyone says anything different, they're fucking shit. And I've been watching from a long time. You can judge me because of my accent, doesn't matter. But I'm telling you right now, I've been watching for a long time. I didn't care if it's Tua, I didn't care if it's Skylar, I didn't give a fuck. I just want the right man. And Tua was playing so good. That's what was so annoying. Tua was like right up there. And I was thinking to myself, when Tua got injured, I turned my fucking TV off. I was like, I'm in New Zealand, right? I turned my shit off. I was like, fuck you, fucking. Anyway, you guys all know what we're trying to do right now. Like, fuck, I don't know. Let's get boys.
Oh man,
appreciate that comment. Go ahead, Jonathan. Try to follow that up.
it was hard to top that. I mean, I felt like I was watching a Rocky movie there. Adrian, you know.
No, we're just joshing you, Tiger. You're all right, buddy.
I'm like the only Miami Dolphins fan in Auckland City where I am. Like, no one supports that. This is me on a daily basis. They're like, "What are you up to?" I'm going to watch the Dolphins game. They're like, "Hey, what Dolphins game? Oh, you going to watch some Dolphins?" Nah, I'm watching the fucking Dolphins play. Like,
right on. Go ahead,
no one knows what I'm up to, but I'm a solo man on my own.
We got you, Tiger. Go ahead, Jonathan.
In all seriousness, as much as I would love to see Skylar Thompson play, just looking at it, or from a coach perspective, they're gonna they're gonna let Teddy do his thing for a little bit. I mean, he reads defense. He reads defenses.
Exactly.
He has more experience. They're gonna give Teddy the shot, which is the right thing to do. As much as we would love to see Skylar Thompson play, they're going to give the shot to Teddy, and honestly, it's his job to lose.
The right thing to do.
It's not the right thing. As us fans, it's not the right thing to do, but it's what's going to happen. Let's be honest. It's what's going to happen.
I want to see Skylar.
I would love Skylar to be back there. I mean, I'm curious to see what he would do, but I believe Teddy will get us a couple wins to still get us in the playoffs. I don't think Tua will play this year. I don't think.
Let him finish, Tiger. Go
Sorry
ahead.
for interrupting. He ain't getting us shit. I'm telling you right now. Teddy Bridgewater ain't getting us shit. Because I used to watch him in the fucking Broncos. He was good. Like, he'll get the passes that you want, but man, how the fuck?
We'll entertain
I'm
that
telling you
debate a
for a
little
fact,
more
brother.
as the week goes on.
I'm from New Zealand, right? I'm telling you right now, Teddy Bridgewater is dog water, and we're in the shit right now. We're hoping Skylar Thompson comes in because I don't know what's happening with Tyler. Like,
Well, we'll
I'll stop here.
We'll look into that a little more this week as the week goes on, because we got to figure out what the status of Tua is anyway.
All right, good night,
real quick,
See you
guys.
in the morning.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Kahari. Thank you much, Kevin Lee, for the $5 donation. Again, do you all think Skylar would have won that game if he went in instead of Teddy?
Man, Skylar nice. Skylar is nice.
Skylar
I think so.
Brother, can I say something?
Reason why I say that because the door was open many times and we didn't walk through it.
One at a time, guys. Please go ahead.
Given the opportunity that Skylar would have had with this weaponry that we got, he would have walked through that door a lot more times than Teddy did. Teddy had the opportunity to walk through the door many times. That was open.
Can I say something, brother?
Therefore, I think Skylar would have been able to walk through that door.
Go ahead, Tiger, and then I want Miss Fins to go after you. Go ahead, Tiger.
Well, in my opinion, the way Tua was playing, and we all see this ourselves. Like I'm telling you, it's like this top 10 quarterback styles. He was running us down the field every time that we needed to get a fucking touchdown every time. And now I'm like, I'm a bet on the sad side because he's injured, but I really don't care. I just want because I know Skyler's there. Because I know
So we'll
Skyler's
take
there, and
we'll
I'm
take
thinking
that
to
as
myself, I'm
we'll
like,
take that
yeah.
as a yes. We'll take that as a yes. You think Skyler would have won? Go ahead, Miss Finns.
Thank you, because I gotta go, man. I gotta sleep and then get to my show in the morning. But as
All
far
right,
as
Mr.
Skyler, the reason why I say no, only because of inexperience. That's literally it. Would he spark the team? Absolutely. Would the team rally around him? Absolutely. In my opinion, would he have made some key plays that would have put us in the position to win? Yes. But then again, it's just a situation itself. I think anybody that came into that situation would have struggled. So it has nothing to do personally with Skyler, but it's a 50% chance we would have actually, come up with a win with that, with having him in there. But Color, guys, thank you so much for having me. You guys have a great night.
Thank you,
Obviously,
Miss Finns.
prayers
You
up to
going
him.
in the morning?
Yes, sir. Like I
pleasure,
do
Miss
Monday
Finns.
through Friday, 8 a.m., guys. It's gonna be Motivation
Yeah.
Friday.
We'll be there.
So
Hey,
definitely.
I come talk
Hold
to
on,
you.
Tiger.
and
Hold on, Tiger. Finish what you were saying, Miss Finns. Tell everybody where they can find you.
Yes, you guys can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Twitch. Uh, did I say Twitter? Oh, and YouTube, obviously, because I have my YouTube channel. It is Miss Finns, MISSPHINS. I got my morning show, The Miss Finns Show, hosted by me, Miss Finns, Monday through
Hey,
Friday, 8 a.m. Eastern.
I'm always
And
in your
also, one second,
I'm always
Tiger.
in your
And
morning
also
show.
Wednesday
Hold
night.
on a second.
Also, Wednesday night at 8 p.m., I do have my League Wide Wednesdays, Let's Talk Football with my awesome co-host, Color Commentary Wednesdays nights, where we talk the entire league. Yep, and we discuss all games, impact players, and all of that. So you guys can definitely catch, subscribe, like, share, and if you're not doing it to over here to the Finns Tailgate again, congrats on the 4K, guys. That's awesome. And then also too, let's get me 2,000. Yay! Fins up, guys, and prayers
Later,
up to
Miss
Tua.
Finns. Appreciate you.
What's up?
Love
Later,
having
Miss
you.
Finns.
Thank you for coming by. And again, thank you to Ralph Torres for another $5 donation. Y'all got to stop with Skyler. Guy hasn't played a down in the NFL. The scheme he is seeing with third stringers is nothing compared to this season.
Exactly. And I will say to that, Skyler got in.
That's a false equivalency.
Hold on, Crypto. Hold on. I'm going to get your response, Crypto. Let Cameron go. Let Cameron go, and then we'll get Crypto's response.
If you look at the preseason, he outplayed Teddy Bridgewater. Like, I know Teddy Bridgewater has a lot of experience, but let's put it into perspective. Teddy had a bad injury. How many years ago? He hurt his kneecap, and he's pretty much in NFL. All those guys are a play away from being out of the game. So I just think looking at the small sample size that we got out of Skyler, he was going up against second stringers. So, and a lot of those guys play in the actual games now. So just looking at what he actually put on tape, he has tremendous upside. Like, he has the ability to get in and move the ball. Like, he had, like, good chemistry with Sherfield. So, and it just seems like to me he's durable, and I think that's a big part of playing QB in this league. You have to be durable.
And what a hell of an arm, right?
Right, and he can sling it. So it's like Tua can sling it, but the knock on Tua has always been his health. And it's just like, if you watch that play, Tua held the ball entirely too long. It has to be like a clock in your mind to say either I have to throw this or I have to get out of this pocket, because I'm just sitting here.
Even to throw it away, the play was broken down. Just get rid of it. You're at the point where you got the whole field to throw the ball away.
Right, and it's like he's just holding the ball, and it's like you're putting yourself in a position where this big 300-pound Nigerian dude in Joseph Asai is coming to take your face off. And that's what the coaches are telling them to do. They're saying, hey, if you get him out of the game, you disrupt everything. And that's exactly what we saw. I think with Teddy, we've seen enough of him to see he's a game manager. So he can manage the game, but can he actually go out and win the game?
So
and that's what hurt me the most.
So, Crypto, did Cameron take all the words out of your mouth?
Yeah, but some of it, but not all of it. I was going to add to it because of the
All right,
this whole
go ahead,
notion
go ahead, Crypto, and then we're going to get Tiger to rail on Ralph here in a second. I'm going to give you a floor in a second, Tiger. Go ahead, Crypto.
No, this notion that he was only doing it against preseason, yeah, but it was second string, and it was a little sprinkle first string in the Tampa Bay game that he was showing it against. Like I said, some of Tampa Bay's second string guys is just as good as the Jets' first string number one. So that's who our next opponent is. So let's just look at the personnel that we can be going up against next week. So there's some guys in the Jets secondary that plays like four stringers anyway. So what's the freaking difference?
Right.
That's my whole argument. It's not like everybody's first string guys play all 60 minutes of football. They rotate those guys in and out of there anyways. So they're going to get your backup guys are going to get depth throughout, going to get some reps throughout the game. Skylar might just catch that third or fourth string guy that's in the game, from time to time because he's gassed. And then, you know what I'm saying? So it's a 60-minute ball game. Let's just not act like the first string guys play 100% of the time, all the time. So there's no way Skylar will have any kind of success.
Well,
that's just nonsense.
That's a good point.
I agree with Crypto.
Go ahead, Tiger. Jam it home.
Yeah. Sorry, everybody. I agree with Crypto 100%. Like that, you just said it better than I could have said it, because I would have said it in a New Zealand accent and no one could understand. But
that's why I held you off, because I knew everybody was going to say what you wanted to say.
Whoa. You see me in the chat. But really, I'm fucking following the game. I'm like, man, how can I actually really talk about this game without a little bit of being upset? Like, you think I'm Samoan? I'm not Samoan. Trust me, I'm not Samoan.
Well, where are you from?
Maori, right?
Don't even say Maori. I'm not Maori, but so I'm from New Zealand. I'm half European. Is that all right? Some of you guys, eh?
So what's your native language?
I speak Tongan, so it's not Samoan.
Oh, okay.
Like Samoan, yeah. Different, not a whole different thing, but like I'm Tongan, like, but I'm not. But at the same time, I've been a Dolphin fan for. You guys wouldn't even know. You wouldn't even know. I had to live through the Chad Pennington era and a whole bunch of shit. Anyway, I can tell you right now, like, watching Tua for the last 2 years, I was thinking he was coming right. I thought he was coming right. And man, today I thought this was the day. I was like, had my drinks here. I was like,
Tiger, I think it was. If you take away the injury, I think Tua was absolutely balling tonight.
Yeah.
I literally thought this was the day. I literally like hyped on the fucking chat. I did everything you could think of. Had drinks sitting next to me on ice. I was like, ooh.
I think it was more on that first drive.
I had a bottle of Grey Goose. I was like,
I'm just saying that we were in position to start taking command of the game, is what I meant. Like, to be honest with you, it's like we had gone up by 2. We were going into the half. We had a chance to put some more points on the board, come out and score again. And based on how Tua was moving the offense to that point, that's a realistic expectation. You know what I mean?
I agree. Yeah.
In other words, he was showing us what he's been showing us the past couple of weeks.
How many chances did Teddy have after halftime? How many chances did Teddy have to score a touchdown? I believe it was like two or three chances.
Yeah, you're right. Now there was a couple great plays by Teddy. But why can't we put the ball in the end zone from the 3-yard line?
But the funny thing is, we put the ball in the red zone better than anyone.
Actually, one of our touchdown drives was 80+ yards with Teddy. The one that we did score a touchdown on.
We didn't though.
Yeah.
We only scored a field goal.
Went up there one time. I was like,
when we cut it down and Sanders boinked it off the goalpost, that was a touchdown drive. That was 80+ yards.
Yeah, a little toss to Chase Edmonds for the touchdown.
That
was a long touchdown drive that Teddy led us on.
It's true, Crypto.
So are
That
you
was
pro
pretty
Teddy
long.
Crypto or are you pro
No, I'm
Skyler?
not pro Teddy. I'm just saying that let's not act like Teddy had didn't have an opportunity. That we even in this game, Teddy still could have won it on his own. He just didn't
Oh,
walk through the door.
absolutely, bro. That's why I'm not hanging my head low, because I don't think our season is over, regardless of the two guys we go with.
Waddle in the corner on the first drive.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, so like I'm saying, we got good quarterback depth to be
How
able to
can we
win
just
games. It's
dismiss
just a
it?
matter of
Like,
game
Which is
planning.
more than I can say
dismissing
for
it,
the
like-
Buffalo Bills, Case Keenum and Matt Barkley. I mean,
Barkley,
really?
yeah.
Listen, we're fortunate
That
to play the
quarterback
Jets.
depth is not so good.
Yep. Go ahead, Jonathan.
We're fortunate to play the Jets next week. I give Teddy at least until halftime to do something. If he doesn't do anything, it's time. If he doesn't do anything by halftime of next week's game, it's time to experiment Skylar Thompson.
Plug, right?
That's the way I see it.
Short leash. That's what I'm calling for.
I can live with that. I can live with that, Jonathan. I think that's sensible.
If you guys see me in the
Hey,
comments,
and to be honest with you, that's precisely the moment you want a guy like Skyler to come in and shock the world.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
right,
because they're not prepared for Skyler.
If you see me in the comments,
Who was an AFC East quarterback that was drafted very low, that came in, he was drafted super low, had to sit behind a certain quarterback, that quarterback got hurt, and then this AFC quarterback came in and never
That would
went
be
back
Tom
out.
Brady, sir. That would be Tom Brady.
That would be.
Okay, we might got him in ST. We might have to plug ST in to see what he can do.
Hey, we
You might be right.
We could only hope, right?
And can I
If somebody
bring up,
comes
can I
in
bring
off
up
an
something?
injury, and then we can
Go ahead,
he becomes
Jonathan.
the next GOAT.
I also want to bring up something real quick too. Even though we lost this game, I really have a good feeling that I really feel that Baltimore is going to beat Buffalo on Sunday, and we'll still be up by 2 games, if I'm not mistaken, in the division.
Yeah,
that'll be convenient. That'll be convenient.
We control the East because we've got 2 divisional wins. So doesn't matter what Buffalo does, we still stay on top. Actually,
exactly.
Right, we got 2 divisional wins.
Yeah. That's correct.
I mean, I would have rather won the game tonight, but we are sitting pretty. I mean, we're not in bad shape other than the injury to the QB1, you know. But like Color said, the season is definitely not over at this stage. You know, we got everything in front of us still, everything out there to win.
But then again, we have to think about like as much as it sucks seeing Tua get hurt, but I mean, moving on forward, do we give him another try? Or, I mean, do we already know he's injury prone?
We stay with Skynet. We stay with Skynet. Sorry, my opinion. Anyway.
Listen, if Tua is cleared health-wise...
too many injuries. Too many injuries. We stay with Skynet.
I was going to say this.
Sorry.
Listen, if Tua's cleared health-wise and he's able to get back onto the field, you go back to QB1. You got to defer back to QB1, just so he's earned that at least up to this point.
I don't know about that, Kahari, because there are plenty in the fan base that were on his side that said even one more injury and they'd be off the train. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
That's if he's fully cleared. If he's fully cleared.
Only reason,
but how many more times are we going to get? How many more times are we going to be going into halftime and lose a game because our quarterback goes down?
Yeah.
Broken ribs.
Do you want Jeff Hostetler or do you want Phil Simms as your quarterback?
I don't know if you guys follow TD, but I'm pretty sure sooner or later he's going to be done with Tua. Like, you know, I'm pretty sure he's done with Tua.
Well, the only reason he would go off of it because of the durability.
I'm going to tell you right now, like, I know I'm from far away, but I watch every single game and I watch everything, right? I'm telling you right now, yeah, Tua's he's too injury prone. And I'm fucking Islander and I will back him up all day. Nah. He's not I'm sorry. I just have to be honest like TD does. Like, the truth is, he's an injury-prone guy, and that's not going to work for us because we need someone right now. He was on point,
as the face. Yeah, like as the face of the franchise. I agree with you, Tiger. Like, as the face of the franchise, You have to know the
Man, I'm
circumstances.
Polynesian.
Everybody's
Like,
been slandering the Dolphins all
I
week. Oh,
love
investigation.
Tua, and I love the game, and I love the Dolphins. Right? I just gotta be honest too.
Let
Like, man, I
Cameron
gotta be
respond.
honest for that.
Tiger, let Cameron respond real quick.
Yeah, I was just gonna
Okay.
add to what Tiger was saying. Is like the NFL is just on the Dolphins. All the pundits, you watch all the sports shows, ESPN, Fox, whatever, Skip Bayless, whatever you like.
I watch every
They're all
single
pretty
show,
much
brother.
just I think Tua had a concussion. You know, it's just all this stuff swirling around him, and you know he's a human. We're all humans. Like people hear that stuff, especially with the internet, social media. All the players know what's happening around him. So it's like he has to know that moment and know in that moment that I cannot allow myself to go down like this right now in prime time. We're the only people on right now. Everybody's watching.
Trust me, I was at the
to
game. I was
take a
at
hit
the
like
game
that.
last week. I was at the game versus the Bills. I was sitting right behind the field goal, right where that play happened. That was definitely a headshot. That was not no back. That was definitely a concussion play that happened there. And you know, I was there. I was there at the game, and Tua
he should have sat.
They should have sat him down this game. You know, I mean, we didn't need to win this game. We wanted to win this game, but we didn't need to win this game. They should have sat him down, and it's unfortunate what happened. You know,
I tend to agree with you there, Jonathan, because again, we don't need to hang our heads low. If the right people lose this week Sunday, we're still the number 1 seed in the AFC.
Exactly.
I don't know what changed.
Right. By 2 games, not by 1, by 2 games.
Our defense played their hearts out tonight. Okay. And we were still in the game.
That's correct. Exactly. Warriors, man. They're Warriors. To go out against Buffalo like that and just the emotional game that was, I was in my house.
Right.
Like
it was a physically grueling game as well.
Like,
you can't.
Yeah, I was just watching it, so I can imagine just being there in that heat. It's 100 degrees, and it's just this is on the NFL. I'm so mad at the NFL and Roger Goodell for the way they just treat the Dolphins and just schedule these games. And they don't have the flexibility to just say, "Hey, you know what? It's a major hurricane. They had to leave a day early. They
Pure negligence,
the University of Cincinnati. The fans are filming their practice and then giving it to the Bengals. They're not going to investigate that. Let's put this game on Friday. Seeing how many people on the injury report. Let's move this game a day ahead to Friday. Let's give both teams an extra day to get their mind right and get their bodies right to come out here and put on the show for the people. And it's like they just look at them like, I'm a black dude. I look at it like these billionaires just look at these guys like cattle. They just look at them like a product. They don't look at them.
Well, I was
like
just about to say, would Jeff Bezos sign off on that? Would Jeff Bezos sign off on that?
Pushing them out there. And this is what you get. You get Tua throwing up gang signs and people making fun of him when he could have legit died in front of everybody. And that's not on the Dolphins. To me, that's on the NFL for just putting that on and then not understanding the situation and the circumstances that we're dealing with, the natural event, like with the weather. And they had that, just threw everything off. And what did they do? They gave the whole Dolphins facility to who? Tom Brady, the person who messed up our offseason. They took that first-round pick from the Dolphins. We were supposed to have 2 picks in 2023 next year. So we had that movement. Chris Green in the front office had that ability to be able to get from underneath Tua and use those picks to get somebody who could come in there and get us to the bowl, because that's essentially where they want to go. I know Tua wants to do it, but it just seems like Tua has a lot of pressure on him, and certain people can handle it better than others. And when you just look at him taking these hits, the way he just stiffens up, it's almost like a rabbit. If you ever came up on a rabbit and you scared like a goat or something, it'll stiffen up and fall over. So sometimes people, it's just like a brain reaction. And that's what I think we're seeing with Tua, where he's getting hemmed up, and it's just like, oh my God, and he just freezes, he just locks up, and it's just like, even if you look at those plays when he's hitting the ground, he's not trying to save his head, like he's hitting the ground and he's allowing his head to hit the turf. Most people's natural reaction is to let me kind of brace my fall, so I'm not just landing on my brain and I'm not just hitting my head on this hard surface and causing myself harm. But it just seems like with Tua, he's in the moment, he's processing the play, he's trying to find Tyreek, he's trying to find Waddle.
Well, listen,
There's a lot going on.
I hate to bring this up again, but Flores did say If he was my son, I wouldn't want to see him out there. And I know that was relative to his hip condition, right? But if you go back to the play last week or on Sunday where Tua got hurt, where they bent him back, right, before he stumbled and got hit on that concussion, I mean, there was a reason why they put in Brissett to run those QB sneaks and not Tua. But people criticized Flores for doing that. You know what I'm saying? They wanted Tua on the field. But now you're seeing, again, a lot of context for the fragility question. You know, and you know, I hate to bring that up because I have been one who's been impressed with Tua this season, and I was starting to root for him as a player to prove everybody wrong, to prove myself wrong. But again, man, that fragility question is legit, man, in terms of his long-term career prospects. You know, but again, you know, we'll have to wait and see what medical staff, what the doctors say. But you know, you're right, man. What needs to be done here is what's best for his long-term health. And football concerns.
Before you respond, Jonathan, I just want to remind everybody we're at the 2-hour mark right now. Make sure you're liking, sharing, subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. Make sure you're hitting up the link in the description below if you need anything from Fanatics, official gear provider of everything you need from the NFL, NHL, NBA, and all the other major sports. You can hit us up on Cash App, Venmo, or Super Chats. We also have memberships. Appreciate all the members who have joined our family and help support us. And even those that support with a like and a share, that helps out just as much. Make sure you're catching our partners' backroom collections. Use hashtag TFTG for 10% at checkout, and also check out all of our gear at the Fins Tailgate. You can use TFTG 15. I'm sorry, TFTG 10 for 15% off in the merch store for TFTG. Tonk will be making a return. In the meantime, we'll be covering him with some kind of content on Tuesday nights at 9:30, 10 o'clock. You also catch me on Thursday nights, as always, with color commentary or post game like tonight at the Fins Tailgate. And now also Saturday mornings with coffee and a cup of color. I probably will be going this week because I still got to do DFS lineups for the main game Sunday. So we'll talk about the game. We'll obviously talk about our quarterback situation a little more. And you also got Saturday nights with Late Night XL and Ali. I'm sure he'll be disseminating all the action that happened tonight. And then, of course, every other night of the week, you got El Capitan, our fearless leader with TFTG. So go ahead. I think, Jonathan, you had something to say before I did the rundown.
Yeah. Just
I got it for a second, color.
You know, the severity of that injury, man. It's just, I'm a big boxing fan, so I've seen a lot of boxers, get hit in the back of the head, and just, I've seen a boxer even, get to that vegetable state, where
a certain type of hit on the head could change a man, bro.
Exactly, and even though Tua right now he has all his extremities, he's, I'm thinking about moving forward, how mentally, I've seen boxers get, knocked out. Boxers, as a big boxing fan, boxers who get knocked out or whatever, and the next fight.
Well, you can see
they're not the same. They're not the same.
Look no further than like UFC fans with Chuck Liddell. When Chuck Liddell got knocked out, after that, it was like his career was over. He was getting knocked out every fight. It's something happens once this concussion types of stuff happen. Like, where's the longevity in it? It does get a little bit dicey after a while. So I hope that this isn't a reoccurring thing. And he is a young guy, so it usually takes place in guys that are a little older. But, man, I've been noticing the chat is freaking brutal right now.
Yeah.
It is absolutely
They're not real fans.
brutal,
They're not real
dude.
fans. These are trolls.
I mean, they're so trolling. I mean, look, Tua's nickname should be the Pretzel because he gets beat up or bet up. The guy can't even spell beat up. Bet up every game. I mean, they're just going after Tua all over the chat, dude. It is freaking brutal. I mean, but that's This is not
But
a
El
good.
Capitan, you have to realize it's a cesspool out there. It's
Well,
a
I mean,
cesspool out there.
it's definitely a cesspool, but I mean, I don't know, dude. It sucks for Tua. And I heard earlier, somebody mentioned that hit he took earlier. It just seems like everyone's grabbing this kid up low. He's falling awkward. It just looked ugly. He had one last week, too, that wasn't even that. Well, not even last week. We're talking 5 days ago. 4 days ago, it seemed like. It's just
shame on the NFL. Just shame on the NFL.
Yeah, they should listen. Okay, you need Thursday night football. Then all right, here's what we'll do: match it up with two teams that both come off buys. It keeps everything the same.
Right.
Keeps
They come
everything
off a
the
bye,
same.
yeah.
Both teams are coming off of a bye. You can match that up, NFL. You literally make the fucking schedule, work it out. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And then after that, the only edge advantage is that the team is playing at home. And they both come off rest. Now you don't have to worry about this nonsense. Now I get it. There's like this respite of 10 days afterwards, but at what cost? We've been seeing too many teams get injured on these Thursday night games, bro. It's just not good.
Yeah.
And all right, everybody's got to play like this. They kind of did this with the 17 game thing. It's like, hey, every
They wanted
other
to add
year,
a game to alleviate it. Think they
well,
were
then they
getting
need to
around
quit
it.
dicking about and start adding more roster spots. That's what they need to do. Because if you want to
Exactly. We need
prevent
a
people to stop being
74-man
injured, you
roster
need
at this
more
point.
people. You need more people to be safe on this. But then again lies the problem: money, cap space, who gets paid what. Quarterbacks are making more than ever, and if anything should show anyone about this game, and you can look at it, I don't think there's been a quarterback that's won it in the last 30 years that's made over $15 million other than quarterbacks not named. There's been none of them not named Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Peyton Manning, and that I'm pretty sure those are the only three that have made 20, 15 or more million. You know what I'm saying? So
and if you look at those guys, when they got a big 300-pound linebacker or lineman rushing at them, what does Peyton do?
What are they doing? They're throwing it at their fucking feet, bro. They're throwing it at their feet.
He's dropping it. He's like, I'm not even messing with that because I want to be able to make this check and take care of my family. And it's
But remember, Cameron, what kind of pressure is Tua under? What kind of pressure is he? He's under a lot of pressure that he has to perform, and it is week in and week out. And I mean, it is what it is. You know, it is what it is. And in his situation in particular, coming in injured, sustaining injuries now 3 years in a row, that is not a good look. And really, you got to be real about his medical situation and what he can and can't withstand as a person, much less as a player. And yeah, there is something you're saying, John, about his mental state, absolutely, especially when we're talking about concussions and shit like that. But I mean, look. There's not like they're not going to get the right medical doctors to look at it. We're talking about millions and millions of dollars all over this place. And now the spotlight's on after what happened with the hit in Buffalo to now playing them on a Thursday night game. The narrative shall continue about these Thursday night games and all that stuff. Nothing will change because dollars make sense. You know what I'm saying? That's all they give a shit about. Whatever the money tells them to do is what they're going to do. Yeah. But when it comes to us as Dolphins fans with our quarterback, it's a little bit more in the gray area. Like, where do we go as a fan base? I think we all want Tua. We all love the guy, and especially the kind of football he played in the first 3 weeks. We got to take that. We got to take the fandom out a little bit and ask about what about this person. Now, if he says he wants to play in this, that, and the third, I'm game. But Mike McDaniel talked about this earlier about keeping players out to protect them from themselves. And I really think he's going to wish he had this one back, and I wonder if he'll be gun shy in the future with players that are sustained injuries and keeping them out. And what will that do for us in a competitive state? I mean, damn, dude, the narrative just writes itself 1,000 different ways with all of the shit we sit in. Not because of the loss, but because of the injury.
Can we talk off topic about Tua? But I am definitely concerned about this secondary. With Xavier Howard hurt, we don't know what's going to happen with Byron Jones when he comes back. I mean, I am concerned about this secondary. The cornerbacks,
I'm really specifically. Yeah.
Yeah, secondary is a little
I'm
dinged up
definitely
a little bit too
concerned about
much.
that. You know,
I agree with you.
the tackling, it's since week one, the horrible
It's been
tackling since
terrible.
week one.
Yeah.
It's just, oh man, I don't, you know, this defense is not the same defense we're accustomed to.
You know, I agree with that. But 72 kind of brings up a good point here where he says, like, you know, Tua's a good kid, just not a franchise quarterback or franchise money. And that's kind of the weird thing that sits on us right now. I don't know. The defense, to me, I'm not worried about defense. Defense made a bunch of big stops until it became just too late. Teddy Bridgewater threw an interception late in that game that we should have friggin' at least got 3 points on and didn't, and they drove back and won that football game. That's where it was over.
Why I want to see Skyler.
That's how it was. I don't give a damn. Defense did their job. I'm not worried about nothing, I'll be honest. That defense has been doing its job. Won us that last game pretty much.
But they don't start off like that. They do not start off like that.
They always start a
be
little
honest.
cold. I'll be real. They always start a little cold, but once the adjustments get made and the defense start tightening up and a couple hits happen, they've been good. Remember, that's still the 4th week of the season too. So I think we'll see less of that later in the year. Especially with offenses being able to start hot where defenses start cold. Both teams kind of start cold later in the year because it is cold. But, you know.
Yeah, but how long do you think Nick Needham will play like that for? Or Brandon Jones missing tackles? Like, how long do you think that will last?
Next week, I ain't got to worry about it. Byron Jones playing next week. What do I care? Byron Jones is coming back next week, dude. I'm telling you. The defense has been good.
Go back in the slide.
Defense has been good enough. Yeah, Needham does need to go back. Defense has been good enough. And they aren't the reason this game got lost.
Not the pass rush. Pass rush.
No, I expected more out of the pass rush. I expected more out of the pass rush.
How many? We had one sack tonight. One sack tonight, or two. One or two sacks.
Well, situationally, guys, we haven't really been on top of teams to unleash a pass rush like we want to.
The words right out of my
Listen,
mouth.
we've been behind. We've been playing from behind where teams can, you know, be variable on us, run on us, pass on us at their will. So Jalen Phillips did get a sack tonight, guys, and Melvin Ingram still.
What was the biggest complaint?
More to go.
What was the biggest complaint against the defense the past few years? We can't stop the run, even when our defense was making turnovers. This defense has been pretty damn good against the run, bro. This defense has been pretty good against the run.
25 sacks.
I seriously feel like we need to get rid of that zero blitz. Honestly, it's not working. It hasn't been working the past 4 weeks. It has not been working.
I think
last season it didn't work till we got Byron Jones back. So we had both corners.
Until we had both. That's true.
I think Byron Jones as a missing cog in this defense might open up a few things. I will say this, you know, it's not without growing pains with not having Flores around here calling the defense. That is a fact. Okay, so there is something amiss in a game plan with Josh Boyer, it seems, in the beginning of the game on what they expect. But I will say Josh Boyer has done a great job with his adjustments. He's done very, very good.
Yes.
And if the defense didn't play 90 snaps last week, I think this game goes a little bit differently. You know what I'm saying? If it was a more balanced game last week, I think this game goes a lot differently. But
yeah, because you could just see it in them, like in the first quarter at the start of the game. I'm just looking at Wilkins on
thigh and groin injuries, bro. That's fatigue.
This game wasn't on the defense; it was on the offense. They couldn't score. That's the way I see it. They wasn't on the defense.
I mean, but at the same time, Tyreek Hill balled out. Like, I have Tyreek on my fantasy. He had like over.
Tyreek did.
Look, we gave up 27, but that's not going to affect very much on average. We're still only giving up 21 points a game. That's not this 27 is not going to affect that average very much.
Well,
okay,
not much at all.
The fact of it is,
it needs to be spread out over a whole bunch.
Let's be real. That defense gave the ball back to the offense at least 2 times in good situational football in the second half that I can remember, and both times the offense failed. And on the last one that the defense gave it back to them, the third one now that I'm remembering, was when Teddy Bridgewater threw that interception in the red zone. That's just a fact. I mean, the defense did their job. And remember what I said about last week when Teddy came in the game. It feels like the energy was sucked out, and the defense kind of felt that way apparently because not that they throttled, but
The
I mean,
offense
damn,
was,
bro.
what happened to Darren Smythe? What happened to Craycraft? What happened to all these players? Like, what happened to Ingles?
Well,
Nobody
I'll tell you
was
what
involved in
happened.
the offense.
We lost our quarterback in the second quarter of the game. That's what happened. That's what happened.
But even before.
More so that you lost your quarterback who's been getting the majority, 80% of the reps with these guys. You know what I'm saying? If Teddy gets the reps, you're going to see improved connection between him and the receivers. Look, I'm not saying that he's going to be, as effective as Tua was, but like on one of his big misses tonight was that throw to Craycraft, threw it high. You gotta say. One would assume that miss is due to him not getting the reps with Craycraft and understanding, how he runs routes, when to throw the ball to him, and that will improve with more reps. Whoever is going to be QB1, hopefully can take advantage of this next 7 days or whatever, and be more fine tuned against the Jets, and then build from there.
Okay, one more thing for me. One more thing for me, and I'm a log out, guys. I appreciate
me
y'all
too.
letting me, give my opinions. It's just like if you look at Tua's twin in the draft, Justin Herbert, he has the intangibles that you traditionally look for in a quarterback. He's tall, he's strong, he's a big arm. And if you look at him right now, he's banged up. He has ribs. I have him on my fantasy team, so I've been watching him this season. He's still out there making it happen. I know they took a bad loss against the Jags, but he's still out there with the same similar injury that Tua had, and he's making it happen. And I was saying that to say that if you look at Tua, you look at Teddy. Teddy throws the ball with 2 gloves. That's just like a little unorthodox. If you look at Tua from like what I know about Tua, he does almost everything right-handed. He writes with his right hand. He's pretty much a right-handed person, but he throws the ball with his left hand. So it's like it's just unorthodox. So it's like you'll see sometimes in the pocket when the pocket collapses, his natural instinct is to go right, but he's left-handed. So I can tell the coaches have been communicating with him to be like, okay, if the play breaks down, go to your left because that's your throwing side instead of going to your right, and you have to stop and set your feet to be able to let the ball go. When I look at Skylar Thompson, I know he's he's rough around the edges, but when you look at him, he has that traditional mode that you look for in a QB. And that's just what I'm looking at and seeing. Whatever McDaniels does, whatever the coaching staff does, I'm fine with it. I do not think that they would have cleared Tua if he really had a concussion. I don't think they would have put him out there like that. I just think just given the circumstances, and we're all just gigantic big Dolphins fans. Like we all love this team, and that's one thing I can tell.
I mean, it's 2 a.m. on the East Coast. People, we all sitting here talking Dolphins. Ain't no lie.
I know, right?
So it's like, you just look at the circumstances of what was going on. To me, the blame is with the NFL because if you look at the NBA and Adam Silver, one thing I'll say about him as a commissioner is he has like that fluid flexibility to kind of see a situation and say, let me do something about this. Let me use my authority to make a executive decision that's not only going to protect the players, but it's going to protect the craft that they're doing. You don't get what you got tonight, where it's just like you could just tell it was just flat energy. And then you have the Bengals who are desperate, pretty much. They don't want to get embarrassed on national TV.
They're ready to kill someone for that victory.
They put these zebra cake looking jerseys on to match the referees. It's all a psychological thing. And it's like, they're telling them, you cannot lose this game. Do whatever you need to do to win this game. And that's what they did. Hats off to them.
Yeah.
They won the game. And it's just
That's no excuse, though, man. That's no excuse at all, man. The Bengals traveled. They played a away game at the Jets and in New York. That's no excuse at all, man. The Dolphins should have won this game. And
both teams traveled. Yeah.
Well, the defense definitely put them in position to win the game more than once, especially in the second half. And that's the shameful part in this. We know how well Tua has been playing.
And
we know how well he's been executing.
And
the interception by Tua, I guess you can be critical, but let's be real. It's a shot down the field. You got to take those shots.
A lot of people from the media talk about his arm.
They're never gonna. They're not gonna say nothing about nothing with the injury right now, bro.
Well,
they
of
might.
course
They might
not now.
criticize some things, but yeah, they're gonna be real
They'll
quiet.
wait until the dust settles.
They'll wait until he's about to start, and then they'll pull
and then they'll
if you were
say,
watching
yeah,
the game,
they
even
have to wait until the dust settles.
Even Kirk said it. You know, if you were watching the game, even Kirk said it. That's what drew a lot of people to talk bad about Tua was his arm when he threw that interception. That interception was horrible. Like,
yeah, but I gotta be honest. I gotta be honest. I've seen Tua make that throw though, bro. That's the thing. Like I've seen
that would have been a touchdown.
I think Tua has the arm strength to make that throw. I think you're right if you take that context and then put it into maybe he was playing a little bit more banged up than they want to let anyone let on. And in which case, if that was the situation, then why on earth didn't we get to see Skylar come out there, man? Like Skylar had to get better reps because we know what to see out of Tua. And this week, this 10 days, they got to give a good look back and forth between Skylar and Teddy because I think this defense is not going to play. I mean, I don't expect the defense to just get over a million times when they think to themselves that Teddy's giving it away like that. That's not how they're going to. It's one thing to fight for the young guy in Tua coming up, trying to help him with his adversity, especially with what was going on behind the scenes with Coach, and they felt a certain kind of way. I'm not going to go into all that, but my point is that Teddy's there's no locker room adversity to overcome. Teddy giving away the game towards the end of that game was not good. Shout out to Pete with the $10 donation. He says, "Y'all stop spinning it. The blame is simple. Save it." Like math, 2 + 2 is 4. Flores sees Tua, Woozy benches him. McDaniel sees Tua, Woozy says, "Get back in the game." BS excuses. Wow, Pete. Wow. So you're putting the sole blame on McDaniel for being, you know what? This is something, and to put a little context on this, is think about it. It's something I said earlier in the year, and that I hope it's not true because I really think Mike McDaniel is a great coach. But we know that this Dolphins team, now remember, everything's been running swimmingly. Ross is not around. Okay? Yeah. Ross ain't around. Okay? So he can't even be in the building. He can't even make decisions. That's a few weeks away. All right? That's number one. Number two, I mean, Sean Payton is lingering in the dark. And there's a real scenario that if Tua doesn't work out, that McDaniel, who I think is a really damn good coach, ends up a lame duck coach. And I don't want to see that happen. Nope. I don't. But where was the scenario at the start of this season? There was talk of Lamar, talk of Tom Brady, talk of Sean Payton, all these things, enough to the point where they took away our first-round draft pick. I mean, this shitstorm of all that stuff only becomes more of the norm for us Dolphin fans if Tua does not pull through in this, bro. This is no bueno.
If Lamar is available by the end of this year, we have to go for him. If he's available at the end of this year, and Baltimore does not want to sign him, or they're still negotiating, we have to sign him.
Bring him in.
Bring him in. That's it. I mean,
you saying at the end of this year?
At the end of this year, or whatever. If they do not sign Lamar Jackson by the end of this year, the Dolphins have to go and pursue him. Bring him in. Because I don't see why not.
He has that clock in his head.
Yeah, but John,
$250 million.
That's the thing,
that's why.
Mark. Yeah, and John, I just went through it. If your name ain't Breeze, Brady, Peyton, you haven't won when you got the bag, and that's truth. Look no further than the best fucking quarterback, been MVP like 5 times now, over there in Green Bay, and the way they're playing right now, don't look like they finna get another one. So I'm just saying, like, it's been crazy the statistics that when you pay a quarterback, you don't win.
Offense,
when they're making 16 or more. I agree with you.
Because you're not going to have the same players.
I absolutely agree with you, but really that probably comes with a lot of guys not being on this football team.
Decision to cut Wilkins.
Wilkins is a goner. Gesicki's a goner.
That's all we need. That's all we need is a year to win the Super Bowl. That's it. The 1 year to get Lamar. I'm not talking about towards the future. I'm talking 1 year. 1 year to bring Lamar in with Jalen Waddle, with Tyreek Hill, with our defense to win the
Somebody's
Super
gonna have
Bowl.
to take a pay
So you
cut though.
want 1 year and
And
If you
after
bring
that, we'll
Lamar,
figure it out
somebody's still
after
gonna have
that.
to take a pay
Well,
cut.
it also probably costs you Byron Jones, and I think we see how important he is.
Yeah, they're gonna have to draft this replacement.
I'm telling you,
They
man.
got no choice.
You
have
won't
to draft
re-sign Nick
Lamar.
Needham.
They
Nick
have to
Needham will
draft
walk, which I like. Cahoon, I
Byron
feel
Jones
good with that.
replacement.
I
See,
mean, listen.
I
I'm
like
not
Cahoon
saying
better than
that the
Byron
team.
Jones in the league that's
Listen,
available.
I don't want to make it that I don't think the team couldn't overcome with offensive firepower
They're gonna have
like
to do what the
Waddle,
Jets did
Hill,
and just draft this replacement.
Waddle, Hill, Lamar, and then the defensive pieces we've got just in the young guys alone. I don't want it to be that I don't think that this team couldn't be unstoppable. I'm just saying that statistics and through the years will say that if your quarterback's making 20+ million, you ain't winning no Super Bowl, and that's just a fact, bro. Like I think unless it's one of those few. Now
that's the one that TD been banging lately.
How much was Matthew Stafford making?
You can't win with somebody making up 20% of your salary.
I wonder.
It's absolutely right. Everything TD is totally right about. Teams play into windows. You have a certain window that you can win in, and once that window closes, because your quarterback's on the second contract. I'm a Bills fan, and Josh Allen goes from $16 million this year to $39 million next year. We're going to lose players.
Yeah, it's going to cost, and it's going to come out of that defense first.
Yeah, we're not going to be able to
out of the defense
as we have in the past. Guys are going to have to go. So you're talking about first of all bringing in Lamar, which is ridiculous. Because the first thing that's going to go on is he can be franchised, which next year he probably would be. And if they want to move him, they're going to move him for a bundle of draft choices, which you don't have.
We're losing them all because of thanks to Stephen Ross.
The NFL screwed the Dolphins. When they took that second pick,
the Lamar fantasy is a fan, guys. You're not going to get Lamar. It's not going to happen. No matter what the scenario is.
No, we're not going to let a Bills fan tell us what the Dolphins.
Yeah, I'm sorry, bro. I don't know if we don't get Lamar, bro. I got to be real. To me, I don't think anything stops this owner from doing what he wants.
If Lamar gets another MVP this season, we don't get Lamar.
That could be the case. Lamar could be out of our price budget, but not because they don't want to pay him.
Another MVP, right?
I would say it's more along the lines if the team that's there offers him more money. And or says I want 10 first-round draft picks. Screw you, we'll never trade them. You know what I'm saying?
If Tua does not play a game for the rest of the year, you cannot tell me that we'll be satisfied playing this man next year, going into next year. That we'll be satisfied with that because that is not going to happen.
Yes,
we will explore options.
No, they're not going to pay Tua. He's not up yet.
I mean, you got to think Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, Florida, the beach, South Beach, beautiful everything, lavish, nice hype.
So you rather have a QB controversy with Tua and Skyler going into next year?
No, you may not have.
We'll have no choice if it comes to durability concerns.
Well, honestly, guys, if we're going on what history says should be done, it should that we get lucky drafting a guy in the first round next year and him coming out with a lot of talent already on the team and showing out. That's kind of really where it goes because paying Lamar doesn't, unless Lamar proves to be one of those 3 or 4 quarterbacks in the last 30 years that can do it. You know what I'm saying? He'll be like the 5th quarterback in the last 30 years to do it. I mean, look, they could structure the money in a way where it doesn't cost a certain and continue to push it down, and we can do the basketball thing, as they say.
Well, let me throw a hypothetical.
But history would say you draft a friggin' quarterback and that kid comes out and lights the world on fire as a rookie or something like that, and you get lucky. You know, or in the next 3 years before you got to pay him, it happens.
Wait, let me finish here.
Yeah.
Let me just say, let's just throw a hypothetical out here. If the Ravens don't want draft choices, they want players. So let's just say the Ravens ask for Waddle, Holland, and Phillips.
You read my mind.
I'm just saying that's what the asking price is going to be.
And then
Yeah, I don't think they pay that.
I'd rather trade Tyreek than Waddle.
They're not going to take
Tyreek is worth more money. That's why.
They're going to take the rookie contracts with all the talent.
Yeah. I don't know about trading Tyreek instead of Waddle.
Tyreek doesn't get traded. His contract will just expire.
Right. Well, Tyreek's got 2 years until he becomes $50 million a year, and he's gone anyway. You got this year and 2 more, and then he's gone.
Mm-hmm. Right. He's got a 2-year window. Yeah.
Now we can restructure Tyreek by the time he's getting that old.
Yeah, but are you going to restructure? Are you going to restructure a 32-year-old wide receiver? That's like the Bills.
We're talking out a year, 2, 3 years from now.
That's what I'm saying. But
he's not going to be worth
that.
that.
By the way, since you're back, I just wanted to point out that I did donate $17 to the Tua Foundation.
I appreciate you.
As what the Bills fans are trying to do here to show that.
Did you get a Tua?
I did. I don't think so. I just donated my $17 to his charity.
Well, what I'm saying is, if you go to the Tua website, I think the Tua donate to the same foundation.
I don't know. I went to the like on the Bills board.
Well, appreciate it anyway. Just letting you know, if you go to the Tua site and get a lay, it goes to the same foundation.
Oh well, darn it. Okay, but hopefully, Bills Mafia will show that we got some class. Hopefully.
I also believe we need to activate Easy E next week because that him and that Skylar Thompson connection is real.
If not for nothing, I just want bigger targets out there with a bigger catch radius that fucking Teddy's throwing to be honest with you. I want to see a healthy dose, if Teddy is playing, of Mike Gesicki, Easy E, any of these guys that have a little bit of a reach in their catch radius, because apparently Teddy can't fucking throw on target.
I think the play that hurt the Dolphins a lot tonight was the throw that Gesicki caught. That was on a super high ball by Bridgewater. He threw the ball super, super high. Gesicki had to kind of wiggle around to make the catch. By the time he
I just watched the same play on the replay. Mark, you're right. I thought the same thing. Like, that was totally like. First of all, I don't throw the pass.
A terrible pass.
I don't throw that pass to begin with because it doesn't get you the first down. Gesicki still needs to run his route to the sticks. And secondly, but you're right about Teddy's throw. It was kind of underhanded off his hand, and it floated out there. It gave Gesicki no opportunity to get it
around. Should we get rid of Hunter Long? Should we get rid of Hunter Long? I mean, what is he doing, Hunter Long? I think that's just a waste of space right there.
Right.
Why didn't anybody know why Tanner Conner didn't get any snaps tonight? Was he actually on the? I think he was on the game day roster.
He was, and I don't know why he didn't get any snaps. Honestly,
he probably was supposed to be inactive.
Because he's 6'4", 230. He's running,
and that guy can run like a deer, bro. It is ridiculous how fast that kid is.
When was the last time, other than the Tua injury? Obviously, a lot of us are heartbroken, destroyed, whatever words you want to use. But when was the last time we didn't feel like our hearts were ripped out in a loss? Because we're literally still in position. We're still in position to be the number 1 seed come Monday morning.
Yeah,
that's just awesome, man. It's so freaking awesome, guys.
Probably that Pittsburgh playoff game. Probably that game.
Yeah,
that game was over quick.
Yeah, just
even if we don't make it, even if our season is over because of this, make no mistake that we're going to hurt a lot of people going into the playoffs. The playoffs ain't gonna be the same because of the Miami Dolphins. Bet that.
I still think this team makes the playoffs, regardless of.
I do too.
Hey, I'm with you, Mark. I haven't lost. I'm just saying.
I think only one team from the AFC West makes it to the playoffs. I don't think the Raiders. I don't think the Broncos make it. I don't even think the Chargers make it.
To be honest with you, they got injuries that are horrible.
I haven't given up on the
I still
division yet,
stand.
Mark. Don't
I'm still
get me
saying.
wrong, Mr.
I'm
Buffalo.
saying
Man. I haven't given up on the division yet.
That's still Kansas City's division to lose until proven otherwise.
It's still the Dolphins to lose until proven otherwise right now, bro.
Thank you, Capitan. It's still our
Yeah,
division.
it's still our division right now, homie, because I gotta be real. A loss to the Bengals on a short week in their house after a big game against Buffalo is not an indication of a team that friggin' is done for the fucking season. It really isn't.
I don't see the Dolphins losing all that many games until they hit that West Coast swing.
As long as we beat the Browns,
as difficult as it is.
As long as we beat the Browns, as long as we beat the Browns and the Browns and
that's going to be a critical game.
Lions could be
tough. And Pittsburgh, as long as we beat the Browns and Pittsburgh, we'll make it to the playoffs.
Right.
Yeah, because those are conference wins and those are important.
Right, because
and
guess
I think
what,
the division
guys?
comes down to the game
This
in
is
Buffalo
why
in late
it's
December.
important. This is why it's important to take care of your business early in the season.
We already have that advantage, though. We already have that advantage.
Think about it. If we were 1-3 right now, which is what we've been for the past 4 seasons, what would we be saying?
We'd be in desperate mode at this point. We'd be desperate for every single win. That's right.
Every win, yeah.
I mean, we're not all hope ain't lost. The whole thing of it is, the fact of it is, we are still the ones that control everybody else's fate. You know, and I still haven't given up on the division. I think the Buffalo Bills still have to match what we did and beat the Ravens this week.
Yeah, and that's not going to be an easy game by any means.
And if you don't think with all those defensive injuries, you don't think Lamar is going to do Lamar things, I'd be a little mindful of that, Buffalo.
Actually, most of the injuries are going to be back. And
come
got
on,
a ton
man.
of injuries also. It's going to be.
All I'm saying is,
good night, man. I'm out, everyone. Peace.
Alrighty, Kahari, appreciate
All right, peace,
it.
man.
All I'm saying is
Be good, man.
I just think that
Lamar Jackson can match everything Josh Allen does and then some. Is all I'm saying.
Well, I think I look at that game and I see Buffalo's getting Oliver back. They're getting Poyer back. They're getting their center back, Morse. They're getting the players that were for the most part injured. I don't know if Dane Jackson's going to play. He's back in practice. He suffered that injury and ended up in the hospital, kind of like what Tua did. I think so. They may be holding him out. They just signed Xavier Rhodes to help out at corner. They signed another offensive lineman this week that's going to help with the offensive line depth. So I think the Bills are going to resettle out and be okay. And I think they're going to handle Baltimore comfortably on Sunday.
Where's the game at?
Score some points,
is it in Baltimore or is
Baltimore?
It in Buffalo?
Yeah,
it's in Baltimore.
The mitigating factor in that game could be weather. They're talking about kind of a wet day with gusts up to 30 miles an hour. That has that can really impact the game. But the Ravens' injury list is really, really bad. They lost Michael Pierce, their defensive tackle for the season with a torn bicep. Justin Houston is out, so they're still a mess. And the Bills are getting healthy after last week.
Well, you still got to play the game.
You got to play the game. And you got to win. But
unfortunately for you guys, we've already taken care of them. So.
And just like you guys got to go out to the West Coast and beat San Francisco, as the Bills went to the West Coast and beat the Rams. That's your balancing game,
right? Of course.
So we take a look at all this thing, and I still think that by the time we get to
that game has no bearing on tiebreaker before the AFC.
No, it doesn't. But it's the game that you have to win to offset the Bills. It's kind of like the offset game. If the Bills, if the Bills and the Dolphins go through their season and win their games that they're supposed to win, and they split the season series, you're going to come down to conference. You're going to come down to division.
You're also assuming that we don't just sweep you guys.
And you certainly could.
I mean, that puts tiebreakers out of the picture anyway.
The game's in the middle of December, coming off a 2-game road trip. It won't be easy.
No,
it's going to be a tough travel, and they're probably going to flex the game for Saturday, so they're going to play that game on short rest on top of it.
Oh yeah, they definitely flexing that game.
Yeah, so that game, and both teams are going to sweep the Patriots and the Jets. We pretty much know that.
No, we don't know that. Sorry,
we don't know that.
you guys
Like,
didn't sweep
that's a
the
rival.
Patriots last year, so don't even say that.
Caller,
Yeah,
we've talked about this multiple times. I am not talking about a game in a 50-mile-an-hour
No,
wind
now you
gust.
just want to ignore last year's games, but you're giving credit to you guys for easily sweeping the Patriots as if you've done it recently.
We've done it 2 years in a row, and then we lost the one game last year, and then the last 2 times we played them, we killed them.
Well, guess who didn't?
Okay, as I've said many times, Color, 2021 is not 2022. The rosters are not the same.
Okay.
So you have to throw out everything that was in the past and go on where these teams are. Is New England a good football team? No, they're not a good football team.
Everybody but the Patriots, right? Everybody had an off season but the Patriots.
The Patriots lost players all over the place, and their roster stinks.
Well, they might say the same thing about your roster.
Buffalo added to their roster. The Patriots kept subtracting from theirs.
I'm just saying, bro. They don't think they're going to lose. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I mean, they're gonna get whacked. They're gonna get whacked on Sunday by the Packers. That's gonna drive them to 1-3.
What happens if Belichick pulls it out?
To the abyss. Mac Jones is gonna be out for God
But
only knows how long.
what would you have to say if Aaron Rodgers lays an egg?
I doubt that.
You can
let's put it in perspective.
It happened before in September.
Brian Hoyer, please.
But see, look at the Bills. You guys go wrong. This is where you all guys all go wrong as Buffalo fans. You guys, remember, you slung the ball all over the field on us, and we still beat you. We're not the only ones that can do that.
Yeah, like
you all have decided that you've got Dan Marino and nobody else has a chance.
This was in the gulag.
Color.
If you
Bills
look at the way Josh Allen is
Dolphins
playing right now, but look at Josh Allen. If some of those
the Bills and
start
the Dolphins play the
on
same
Josh
exact
Allen,
schedule minus the Rams and Kansas City versus the 49ers and the Chargers. They play the same exact schedule. All they play the Vikings and the Lions and the Bears and the Packers, et cetera, et cetera. And actually, it's even such that the NFC North games are the Packers and the Vikings are at home for the Dolphins, at home for the Bills. The road games are the Lions and the Bears. So the schedules are exactly the same. The the Dolphins played at Cincinnati. Bills play at Cincinnati.
Is that supposed to convince me that you can sweep the Patriots? I don't know where you're going with this, bro. We know what the schedule is.
The 80 points that they scored and didn't punt in the last 2 games they played the Patriots kind of tells me where those teams are at.
Yeah, exactly. And they beat you guys with throwing the ball 3 times. You're just taking that credit away from them just because you turned around and slapped them in the face. You're taking the credit away for them slapping you in the face.
We lost the game 14-10 in a 50-knot wind.
Okay, what if there's a 50-knot wind?
I'm thinking that's not going to happen.
Now you're Mr. Weatherman. Okay, I got you.
And you don't know it's going to be 50-knot wind.
I'll take the W on this one, bro. I'll take the W on this one.
You lose that game in New England last year.
I think Josh Allen has been fortunate. The way he has been moving around and just scrambling, it's only a matter of time until somebody lays that wood on him. And
Cam Newton.
That's exactly what I was going to mention.
Well, it'd be Cam Newton 2.0.
It's not Cam Newton 2.0.
It was an expiration.
Oh, yeah, he's definitely Cam Newton
2.0.
2.0.
Look, I'll take the L, but I will give you deference to the idea that, sure, I believe you're going to sweep the Patriots. Don't get me wrong.
We've already done it 2 years ago.
I'm just not going to accept this the way Buffalo talks about their team like, oh, we're going to sweep the Patriots. It's no as if you've done it.
It's not given. No, it's not given.
Done it.
Not recently.
2020 is pretty recent.
Now you're telling me I can't go back to 21, but you want to go back to 2020.
Okay. And since 2020, the Bills have gone 4-1 against the Patriots.
Talk about a totally, completely different team. I mean, based on that logic, you guys should have beat us last Sunday.
if you play that game 8 games out of 10, Buffalo does win that
here we
game.
go. Here we go. 8 games out of 10,
God.
you wouldn't be as tired as you guys were? Your offensive linemen were dropping, not your defense.
Wasn't a
Your offensive linemen were dropping, not your defense.
The
You
game
guys
last
kicked
year,
that field goal.
Exactly.
You held to that field goal because your offensive linemen were dropping, and you could not put the ball in the end zone on that drive.
Right.
So 8 times out of 10, that's going to happen the same way.
It's not going to happen. I don't think it's going to be 95 degrees in Buffalo on December 18th.
It's 90. No, but in Miami, 8 out of 10 times, it's 98 degrees like it was last
Right. It's going to be the same temperature.
Listen, I can tell you one thing. I was at the game.
You just switch locations mid-argument.
I was at the game. I was at the game on Sunday, and man, sheesh. When I first got to the game, the sun was beaming on me, and I was behind the field goal post. And I looked to the left, looking at the away side, and that sun did not move at all on the away side, bro. The home field advantage for us is crazy. It really is like an advantage because that field.
To tell you the truth, that day could have been overcast, and we still have that advantage. People do not understand how hot it is in Miami.
I seen it happen when we played the Titans. When we played the Titans, game 1, I think it was.
The humidity is something else.
And that game went for hours, and it was raining. They paused the game. They delayed it. And man, that sun did not stop beaming. I was there in that game too versus the Titans back in. I think it was like 3 years ago. And man, that home field advantage is something. It's something crazy. It really is.
We used to do it all the time back in the day. Jason Taylor would take over ball games because their other defense wouldn't have anything left in the fourth quarter.
Facts.
We won so many games that way. You got to realize that in the history of the Dolphins, if you were to do the deep dive, I bet you 80% of our wins have come exactly how we won against Buffalo last Sunday.
Yeah, it's the same thing in the wintertime in Buffalo.
Even with Dan Marino.
Yeah, I mean, even Big O said it. 25 years of our defense winning pretty much our games.
Right. I'll echo Big O on that. I can't tell you how many times I've been like, oh my God, our defense, because their other team is just like can't even stand up anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
I think Tua's gonna be back.
I practiced in it for 2 hours every day for 3 years.
I don't think Tua. He might be back, but he should not be back this year. I don't think so. After that, my wife is a nurse, and she seen that automatically. She thought he had a seizure. I don't know if he didn't look like.
Well, I'm going to say this. I'm not going to tell you who it is because they are a licensed medical practitioner and can't put their name on it without seeing it themselves. But the person I talked to, whom I really trust, I'm sure everybody can figure out who that is. When I described to them what I saw on the TV, the first words out of their mouth was seizure.
And I'm pretty sure we didn't see it, but I'm pretty sure his toes were curled up the same way his fingers were. But we didn't see that because he had cleats on.
His fingers were crazy.
Well,
they
Sal,
said it's a neurological response.
Sal, I get what you're saying because I lived
trauma.
in Missouri for 10 years. I know how that cold is, and it does suck. But if Tua ain't our quarterback that day, we might actually – I mean, Skyler played in Kansas State, bro. It gets cold there too. Trust me.
Yeah, that's why I like him too.
Yeah.
Because
McDaniel, he's a smart coach, man. He would not have signed this guy to the team if he didn't know that this guy had potential. He has potential.
For all we know, John, he signed him to the team because he's a cold weather quarterback.
Yeah, that's another reason.
If they cut him, he would have got picked up.
I mean, you all got to realize people from the Midwest might not realize this, but it gets brutally, brutally cold in the Midwest during the winter.
Exactly. That's a dry cold too.
I'm in Denver. I drove through Kansas in the winter.
I still stand by. We give Teddy a shot. Give him till halftime of next week versus the Jets. If he doesn't put up any points, Put in Skyler, and that's it.
Just
Let's
pray to
ride with
God we're
Skyler.
not down by freaking
Cameron,
30
Cameron,
points
you were
by
a
that
little
point.
quiet. You were a
We
little
should
quiet.
not be
Cameron.
down. We should not be up by 3 points or down by 3 points versus the Jets next week.
Right, I agree. Cameron, you were a little bit low in volume. I didn't catch you. It sounded like you were trying to say something.
Oh, I was just saying, yeah, I was agreeing, kind of, just ad-libbing as far as, yeah, it gets super cold in Kansas, and that's important because just looking at like how much of a rivalry this Bills and Dolphins game is going to be, they're going to have to be able to play in that cold weather the same way. You get that heat. They're going to have to be able to go up in the late year. And the NFL did no favors with this schedule. Like they literally just threw them to the wolves as far as just the scheduling to start this season. And it's just like it's just on the coaches and everybody involved to just come up with the best thing. Everybody was talking leading up to this game. It wasn't very much preparation for this game, but the lead up to the game was everybody kind of going back and forth with should Tua have played this game? And it's just looking at what happened. Tua should not have played this game.
Well, that will be the elephant in the room right there.
And by the way,
it wasn't a game for us to win to be like Tua needs to play this game.
Exactly.
It was not a game.
That's my point about bringing up how the fact that a couple losses from the right teams this Sunday, and we're still the number 1 seed. We literally didn't have to win this game.
To be real, everybody predicted us to be 1-3 right now.
That too.
Aren't they're not, aren't the Dolphins the number 1 seed anyway, regardless of how?
Yes, we are currently.
No.
No. Well, we have to check because if the Jaguars or the Chiefs play certain teams and win, they might be able to outright tie us with the tiebreaker for like conference wins. I have to check. You know what I mean? But
Jaguars have an
yes.
loss,
If all things stayed the same, yes, we could still very well hold the tiebreakers for the number 1 seed in the AFC. Yes,
right.
We could assume that
Depends on who's
Philadelphia
winning.
handles Jacksonville, so that'll knock them to 2-2. Kansas City.
Now, if you guys lose to the Ravens,
Kansas
you're
City
really a couple steps.
Do they play
back,
NFC team? Do Kansas City play an NFC or AFC team this week?
Kansas City plays Tampa Bay in Tampa.
Oh, so that doesn't matter what they do then because that's an NFC
so there's
team.
one off the board.
Well, no, the Chiefs.
The next one is the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're actually the number 2 seed right now.
Yeah, but we don't see them beating the Eagles. I don't see them beating the Eagles.
But what I'm wondering is if they do, will it give them? Will it match our tiebreaker? You know what I mean? Because we played a lot of conference.
That's their first NFC team.
Jaguars win. They
look,
go
guys. The
3-1,
reason
and they would go.
Hold on, Mark.
The
The reason for those that don't, for those that are in the back of the room, the reason we are hold so many tiebreakers is because we've played a lot of conference games, and we've won them all. So we hold a lot of tiebreakers on a lot of people.
Right, you hold tiebreakers.
Losing
Baltimore.
Hold on, losing to the Bengals, a conference opponent, and other teams beating the right opponents, we might have lost that tiebreaker. I don't know. We'll have to see after all the dust settles out on Sunday. People are more than welcome to go do the math.
So Jacksonville will be the only team that poses a threat to tie us.
Right. However, if like the 2, 3, and 4 seed all lose Sunday, we're still holding the number 1 seed in the AFC.
Yeah, in the AFC, yeah.
Well, like I said,
because everybody's played at least 2 NFC teams.
The point being, the loss doesn't kill us. It's not the end of our season, to Jonathan's point. And we are overachieving. Not only are we 3-1, but there's 3-1 against some of the best teams in the AFC.
I'm not saying this is going to. Well, I did. If we were to lose next week, that would be disastrous because we would fall 5 spots.
Yeah, that would be a killer loss.
That would be 5 spots. We would fall.
Absolutely.
Which is a possibility.
The door back in for command. Absolutely.
That would be a disastrous loss. I mean, catastrophic to the point where we'll be on the mat.
You're absolutely
right. Which is a possibility too. Now that 2 is out, it is a possibility that we might lose.
Disastrous.
You know the kind of thing
because we're letting a lot of teams off the map.
The way the injuries break out is TJ Watt will be out for the Buffalo game, but back for the Dolphin game.
And I guarantee they're going to sit Xavier Howard out. Now they're going to be precautious. They're going to sit Xavier Howard out next week.
Nah, why?
I don't
know. He has a tailbone injury, doesn't he?
Well,
Jay-Zan, hold on, guys. Hold on a second. I want to address this comment because I know it is early. And look, Jay-Zan, I'm totally with you. I'm just stating these things for the really, really, a lot of fans care about that stuff. So I'm just
we have to keep track of it game by game. It's
number
good.
one right now. You know what I mean?
It's a mental exercise we don't have to go through so we can keep track of tiebreakers.
Hold on, Crypto. This is just for the fans, the really, really diehard fans, Jay-Zan. People want to hear that we're number one and why. Because until we're not number one, we are number one, regardless of how early it is. But I get your point, and your point is well taken.
Right. It's a fun exercise.
It's just for the fans that are just like, hey, man, we're all sycophants, you know what I mean, for our team. And when I was growing up, look, when I was growing up, first week of the season, we were going 16-0. But until we lost, whenever we did lose, okay, now we're going 15-1. That's how I used to think as a kid.
Me too, yeah.
We got a lot of people watching
now
the show.
we're going 15-1, exactly.
And sometimes in my own private mind, I still think like a kid like that. So I'm just doing it for the fans' sake, man. I get what you're saying. Logically speaking, God, there is a lot of football left. Look, Buffalo could have their entire team injured and go 2-15 for all we know.
Right, you never know who a team's going to be at what record by the time we do play them.
Yeah, you don't know what injuries are going to happen.
Yeah,
so.
you beat the teams that are in front of you. That's what you do.
Right.
You beat the teams that are in front of you.
What you think may be the softest schedule could turn out to be the hardest schedule, and vice versa because of injury factor.
You know what sucks? The fact that
you have to look at timing. You may play the Vikings when they don't have Dalvin Cook.
Right.
What sucks, man, is we're 3-1, and tomorrow, later on today, waking up, the narrative in the media is going to be about the fact that we should have never played Tua. Not the fact that we're 3-1 and still in the division.
And that's a good point, John. But let him have it. But John, I encourage that because that's why the Finns tailgate continues to grow.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So let them talk that nonsense.
Yeah, they're going.
I think as far as with Tua,
let them all have their great time because none of it matters at the end of the day. Because we know our team. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm gonna jump in and just say this, then I'm gonna sign off. I mean it for real this time, but I just think the injury, like I can just think in my mind when Dak before he got drafted, I think he was in Panama City. And he was on spring break. He was still in college at Mississippi State. And he got in a fight. I think the fight's probably still on YouTube. You can look it up. But that got knocked out. Somebody put him on his butt. He was out cold. And that was on pavement. It wasn't on the AstroTurf the way that Tua's injury was. I think just the optics, like Ms. Fizz was saying, is the fact that everybody was looking. So now you have everybody just giving their take and their opinion, and it only just intensifies what's the word, the like the authenticity, not that, but they have to, for the optics of it, kind of hold Tua out longer than he probably needs to be out. I think with this injury, they need to get all the medical expertise that they can, but just it's a really good sign that he was able to walk on his own out of the hospital, because my younger brother, when he played football in high school, got a concussion and he ended up having to stay overnight. So that to me just means if this is high stakes football with all this betting and stuff going on and how much we care about it, if he was able to leave on his own and fly back with the team and have the team doctors checking him out, I think they're going to do everything possible to ensure his safety. But I think that we will be seeing him again at some point this season, whether it's at some point next month.
I don't think so. Not next month. No. But, man, this is 3 years in a row going on. 3 years in a row. He has not been able to be healthy for a full season.
Yeah, I agree, John.
Look,
I agree, John. I think
we're at the full season is kind of dead.
As a GM, as a coach, no matter how much you love the guy, he talks well. Tua talks well. People want to see him. I want to see him succeed. But, man, come on. 3 years in a row now that he cannot stay healthy.
Yeah, John, you make a great point, because I think we're at the point of we're
we have
gonna
a team to win now.
hand. No, we're gonna ride the hot hand from here on out. If Skyler or Teddy is winning us games and Tua is ready to come back, we're not gonna rock that boat at this point.
Exactly.
So I mean, it is what it is. Now, if he's ready to come back at some point in the middle of the season, and we've seen nothing but mediocrity from both our quarterbacks, then he'll be back in. But we're at ride the hot hand at this point. That's where we're at. If Skyler comes in or whoever is just hot as hell and we're winning games, Tua is not coming back until that stops. And it's because of what you're saying. Look, whether he's ready or not, safety aside, all that, it's 3 years now. And there are a lot in the community that have been giving him fair chances, that don't hate him, that have said, look, the injuries are enough for me, though. There is at some point where you have to say, okay, what is his skill, as good as it might be, what is his skill doing for us laying in a hospital bed? That's a fair question.
That will be that will be the question that somebody has to answer.
And so if we've got a hot hand going on, nobody's going to want to ask that question. They're just going to answer it and keep the hot hand in at this point, I think.
Yeah. Do you want Jeff Hostetler or do you want Phil Simms? That's the question.
What happened. I mean, to be honest, and I don't even know if it was an injury that happened with Alex Smith. I don't remember, but once they saw Colin Kaepernick riding the train, they were like, "No, we ain't doing nothing to rock that boat." And it took them all the way to a Super Bowl. You know what I mean? Obviously, we all can argue about Kaepernick and whether he was real deal or not, but that's beside the point.
Teddy that's running the hot hand, and he's not going to be there next year, and Tua's healthy. I can go back to Tua.
You think you do, even if Teddy's got a hot hand?
Yeah, because Teddy's not going to.
Well, that's a good point. That's a fair assessment. I would say, in Teddy's case,
maybe Teddy falls on his face.
But I mean, if Skyler's got a hot hand, we're seeing 40 burgers every week. Let's be honest.
Correct. Right.
Well,
it's a whole nother element.
If Skyler's the real deal, and then
I'm not saying he is. I'm saying if he's got a hot hand.
We don't know yet. He's the X factor. We don't.
But if he does have a hot hand, we're putting up 40 burgers every week.
I believe Skyler has a way better arm than Tua.
That's my point.
But he doesn't have the same expectation.
Okay,
he doesn't have
get
that same
bro.
accuracy.
You keep ignoring my caveat. Damn it! I'm saying if his hand is hot, he's putting up 40 burgers. It don't matter what his experience level is.
Okay.
If he's getting the ball to Tyreek and Waddle, it don't matter.
Didn't mean to take away your caveat.
The interception that Tua threw.
Okay, let's go to Culler's point, which is very well taken. The problem with this injury now with Tua, and yes, I can move on with Skyler in the future. You draft a relatively young backup, or you get an experienced backup in the offseason, and you don't pay him $6 million. But it's going to be difficult to trade Tua now to get anything back in value because of the injury history.
Well, that's a given.
A late first-round pick to maybe nothing more than a third or fourth.
Well, given Greer's what he's been doing lately, Greer can find out a way to get something from him.
Well, what are you going to get for a quarterback who's got continuous injury history with a history of concussions? Nothing.
Well, maybe a third or fourth.
I don't understand. A lot of Dolphins fans think that Tua is going to come back in a week or two. I really don't see that happening.
Next week, the game's out of the question next week. I would be shocked if he comes back next week.
If he takes another hit like he did tonight.
Who said he's coming back next week?
I see a lot of people in the chat.
What John's about to say.
Not next week.
John's about to say, a lot of Dolphin fans got to realize that he could have been killed tonight.
Exactly.
I mean, bottom line.
What about the next hit?
Well, that would have been what was the guy, Reggie Lewis in Boston, that died on the court in NBA? Yeah, that could have happened.
I mean, I told you guys before.
And let's be real. He's not out of the woods yet.
He's just been
Sonny Bono got in a ski accident, banged his head on a tree, okay, felt fine, went home that night and died. That's how Bono died.
And like I told you guys before, I watch a lot of like I told you guys before, I watch a lot of boxing. I've seen somebody get punched in their face and hit the back of the head on a ring, not a turf, not a grass, not on the field, on a ring, which is a lot softer than the field,
right? And
died. So I mean, come on.
Head injuries ain't no joke.
Well, neurological injuries are no joke.
We don't know they said it was definitely neurological.
Look,
the response he had with his hands.
Everybody's different. It's just like everybody's tolerance for alcohol. Everybody's different. Some people can get hit on the head repeatedly their entire life, like myself, and get smarter. Some people take one little nick to the head and it kills them.
Yeah.
And it don't matter who you are, what your body physique is like. You could be a big dude, little dude. It doesn't matter. Head injuries are no joke. It just takes the right spot, the right moment in time and space, the right angular momentum, whatever you want to call it. It ain't no joke.
It's not.
Yeah, it's not. That needs to be taken serious. The league has to figure something out.
I mean, I don't mean to sound like some sanctimonious asshole, but damn, man, we got to realize that, people.
And was it me or did I hear Coach McDaniel in the press conference? He said when he walked on the field, Tua just asked. He was like, "Oh, what happened?" He was like, "Oh, did I hear that right in the press conference when he said that?" He was like, "Oh, like pretty much Tua was asking, oh, what happened?" Pretty much asking, and McDaniel said he knew from the moment he seen him that he was in concussion protocol. Like he was just not himself. He was not himself. So I don't see Tua coming back in a week or two. Not next week, but in 2 weeks, I don't see him coming back. I don't see him coming back. He shouldn't come back for this year.
Yeah, there's no sense of rushing him back next week. It's not a big deal to rush him back now. You got to take the safety precautions.
And if Skyler or Teddy takes us to the playoffs, why bring him back? Why? We should not bring him back. I don't see us bringing him back. Honestly, I believe this was the last game we probably see Tua in a Dolphins jersey, honestly.
I don't think that you're unreasonable for saying that, John. I honestly don't. I don't wish that to happen. I'd love to see the kid play again. The man play again. But
yeah, we need to see him 17 games. But under this
seriously, other people can do it. And
they can't rush him back.
We all of us that played this game, we all had to stop at some point. And none of us were happy doing it.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay, I wanted to play beyond the level I played at, but my body just ain't built that way. My hands, my eyes, all that stuff is great to be a wide receiver, but the rest of me isn't. And I had to accept that at some point. Everybody gets to a different level, and there is nothing Tua should be ashamed of in his accomplishments in his football career. Nothing. When he's old and gray,
he's a good guy.
He's old and gray, and he's telling his grandkids, he can tell his grandkids he's a champion. It doesn't matter at what level it was at.
It sucks because he's a good guy. You can tell he's a good guy. He has a good story, but I just don't see it.
I'm not trying to horse pasture him. You know what I'm just trying to say. There's nothing to be ashamed of. If this guy decides for himself, I've had enough. Look at Andrew Luck. I wonder if Andrew Luck's going to be giving a phone call to Tua.
That's a good question.
Hey, bro.
That's a good question. I never thought about that. Yeah.
It just ain't worth it.
Andrew Luck said he hung it up and said, okay. I'm done.
You're obviously smart enough and responsible enough to invest your money the right way. I'm pretty sure you're going to be fine.
I just don't think you can change that from the way Tua is. I don't think you can change that for you to tell him, yo, you need to get rid of the ball. If there's a play there, you need to get rid of it.
For the same reason that somebody probably needs to tell him to quit, because he's going to want to come back.
Exactly. I don't see that in Tua's game. He wants to make plays. He wants to do it.
And
I just don't see that happen.
again, I'm pretty sure he's going to want to come back too. Somebody might have to intervene. Maybe his father. I don't know. I don't want to speak for his family. You know what I mean? But if those of us that said, look,
moving forward, do you see Tua as the future of this quarterback?
I don't personally. I don't personally, John, but remember, I was pretty heavily critical of his past play in the offseason. So I was never a believer in the first place. But he got me to that point. He was actually poised to capture my faith tonight. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
And it was like, damn, you know, and whatever. But at the same time, all offseason, and people who want to, you know, all these people that like to throw out their receipts comments, you can check these receipts too, because I've never wished ill for this man. Okay, I've critiqued his play. I haven't liked his play, but I've never said I don't like the guy. I'm the one that did a show highlighting his father's interview on another YouTube channel, which only a couple thousand people have ever clicked on. So I think it's pretty, you know, self-righteous of people to come to me and say that I hate this man. You know what I mean? I think his father raised him right. I think he's a great individual. I think this world is a better place with Tua Tagovailoa.
Did you see the chat? Like, people were just,
and I want him to still be here.
Did you see the chat? Like, people were wishing. People were happy that he got this injury. Like, people were happy about that. Like, I don't understand that. As much as I didn't, me coming, like, I really Tua, the way he was playing, I'm not a big fan of him, honestly. I really am not. But I did give him a chance, and he did prove me wrong the beginning of these 3 games. But the fact that people were just talking so much crap after when he got hurt right now, and people were just happy about that really like hurt.
But we also have to be fair to those that have said that's one of their problems with him is his proneness to injury. Because those people are being looped in with the people that are just being hateful. And it's not fair to them either, because it is fair for them to say they were right about that, given people telling me I got to bend the knee about Tua balling out.
Yeah.
I mean, it is fair for them to come out of the woodworks and say, hey, we did warn about this. Yeah. As a Dolphins fan and not a hater of the man Tua. You know what I mean? Because we're still Dolphin fans no matter what happens with Tua.
Yeah.
So you know, it's fair for us to think, what are we going to do about our quarterback from an X's and O's standpoint? You know, forget the personal side of things. We can discuss that, and the easiest thing to say, because that's all he's ever shown me, is Tua's a great guy.
One thing I can
continue to be in this world.
One thing I can take about what happened tonight was I know for a fact these players are playing for Coach McDaniel. They're playing for him. They're going to continue to play for him, and I don't see the season falling apart. I do not see that. Like most fans are saying that the season is going to fall apart. I don't see that, because I see them playing for him.
Now, real quick, John, this is an interesting point right here.
All right.
Are the safety concerns great enough to not play him as a backup?
The safety concerns?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. In other words, this comment, somebody important says, and that's their name. I don't know if they're actually important, but somebody important says, trade Teddy, start Skyler, make Tua the backup.
No, absolutely not.
That'd be too much political backlash for that.
I know that, but I'm saying just put the optics aside as far as a wise decision goes. Is that a wise decision? In other words, what I was saying was, are the safety concerns enough to not play him as a backup?
Right.
given that in a limited number of games, he does well and doesn't get injured for 3 or 4 or 5 games. You know what I mean?
Right.
Oh man, it's Tua. The thing is, he's shown enough to be an NFL starting quarterback. He's shown it. But his injury concerns are obviously a concern. It's a concern. But to be as a backup, no. I mean, I don't see Tua being a backup. We might as well trade him.
To be honest with you, if that's all a player can give you is that many games, then that's by definition what they are.
Is Jimmy Garoppolo a backup quarterback?
I mean, some would say.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he is. Jimmy is a backup.
I mean, he led them to the Super Bowl, guys. Come on. He led the San Francisco.
But Jared Goff.
Twice.
I could throw Jared Goff at you, bro. Led the Rams to the Super Bowl.
But look what Jared Goff is doing right now, though. I mean, Detroit's maybe not winning as many, but they're competitive.
Well, I'm a believer in Jared Goff, but
Jared Goff is a top 10 quarterback in fantasy right now, isn't he? Not.
The point the Rams were trying to make by bringing in Stafford was you can have a guy get you to the Super Bowl. There's plenty of those guys. But if you want to win one, it's not going to be Jared Goff. That's what the point they were trying to make by doing their move.
Right.
And they were proven right so far.
That's actually correct on it, yeah.
You know, so it's hard to
unless Jared Goff
does
win
with the
one,
Lions in the long run.
If he wins one in Super Bowl, right? If he wins a Super Bowl in Detroit, they both are right.
This was my argument about Tannehill. Look, you put all the stuff around him that everybody said we should for 7 years, while I was in the back going, no, this is pointless. Okay, you put all the stuff around him, and he gets you 1.5 games more than he got us. And the Tennessee Titans prove that. Because I'll tell you this, it doesn't matter what they do. It doesn't matter how close he gets. He's never going to the Super Bowl. Ever. Ryan Tannehill will never be in the Super Bowl. It doesn't matter what you put around him. He can look good, and this is the point about Jared Goff. Sure, he got you there. But there are those that would say he'll never win you one. He might fall into a win. You know what I mean? But he'll never win you one. And when you look at the pass, that Stafford threw to Cup in the Super Bowl, I mean, damn, bro. You know what I mean? Jared Goff ain't gonna make that pass, dude.
I mean, Jared Goff didn't have Odell either, though. Come on, he didn't have Odell either. Cup. Yeah, Cooper Kupp and what?
And Odell had been out of the game by the time Stafford threw that pass to Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, but Odell was pretty much almost MVP of the Super Bowl that game.
I got
before he got hurt.
Fair point. Well, that's why it's nice to see Jared Goff coming through in Detroit right now, because we get a chance to answer this final question. You know what I mean about him? You know, but. Back to Garoppolo, you see what I mean, though. There's those that are like, nah, he's just a backup. I wouldn't take him.
I mean, Garoppolo was what? Almost a touchdown away from winning the Super Bowl, though.
Well, he was right. I mean, he was the 12th ranked quarterback last year.
Yeah, last year, though. We're talking about last year.
Aaron Rodgers was only 10th. So you make a fair point. I'm not saying I believe he's a backup. I'm just saying that there are those that are just like, whatever, he's fool's gold, you know. And with the injury concerns of Tua, does that not make him fool's gold?
Yeah, you're right. You're right about that. I just believe
may or may not be. I don't want to claim to be right. I'm just saying that's a fair question to ask. You know what I mean? At this point.
At this point, I just believe that it sucks. It sucks, but I believe this is the end of Tua. Honestly, this is I just feel like this team is ready to win now. You know, this team is ready to win now, and we have to experiment. I mean, with Skylar Thompson, see if not, draft a quarterback, and I just don't see us going into next season with this roster going into next season with Tua, and depending on winning a Super Bowl with Tua next season. I don't see that happening.
God, it is going to be a long 10 days, people, till next week.
It is. It's going to be a long 10 days. But then again, what happens if Tua is clear to play in 10 days? Do you really want to depend on Tua playing in 10 days?
First of all, no, I don't. And second of all, I don't think the Dolphins dare take that chance optically.
Yeah, they won't. All
right, can you imagine if he got injured against the Jets? Even if he broke his ankle, it'd be like, oh my God, man, the fallout.
Yeah.
They'd be calling for Mike McDaniel's job.
Yep. I don't see that happening though. I don't see us. I don't see us playing. Tua should not be playing. He should not.
I think you're right. So we're almost at the 3.5 hour mark, guys, and we're dwindling down to 2 left. So I'm going to go ahead and give you guys final thoughts. Greg hasn't said much in a minute. You got anything to give us, Greg, for a final thought? If you haven't fallen asleep at your keyboard, going once, going twice. All right, John. It looks like you're going to be the final thought tonight. But before
I just want to say,
well, real quick, before we do that, you got to stick with me through the rundown. So
absolutely.
Make sure everybody you're catching us on Tuesday nights. We're supporting Tonk every bit way we can. He's got things going on right now he's got to take care of, and we will be backing him up, but he will be back for TMI Tuesdays. In the meantime, we'll be providing your normal Finn's Tailgate content on that night. You also got me on Thursday nights, like tonight, sometimes under the Finn's Tailgate banner when we're playing on Thursday night like we did tonight. And also coffee and a cup of color on Saturday mornings. Try to go in the morning. I've been making it around 1 o'clock lately, but it's always a good time for a cup of coffee, some pancakes, and some nice reggae playing in the background. And then, of course, on Saturday night, you got Late Night Exhale with Ali. We're going to have a lot of steam to exhale this Saturday night. I can tell you that much. And then, of course, El Capitan every other night of the week. And make sure you're hitting the link in the description below when you go to Fanatics to buy all your officially licensed gear. And make sure you're also checking out our partners, Backroom Collections. You can find their link in the description below, and you can use hashtag TFTG for 10% off at checkout. You also can check out our gear with a TFTG 10 code for 15% off. Oh, I don't know if I'm supposed to show the Keenies or not. I don't know if we're back yet. Well, it's not a matter. It's late night, so it's not a matter of that. It's just a matter of we had a problem with the template or something, and they weren't able to print them out, so we weren't able to sell them at the moment. So I don't know if that's changed or not. So I don't want to show them to people and then not be able to come through with them. But they are nice looking, aren't they? I mean, them bikinis are just spot on. And of course, we got a flag, the official TFTG flag, which is now being flown at our tailgate with Ali for home games whenever we go to home games. We also got beanies, hats, and stuff like that. And also make sure you check us out with Venmo, Cash App. There's many ways to support the channel, including super chats, super stickers, and memberships. And we appreciate every one of the members that have joined the channel. You can locate them by their green handle in chat. And if they're a moderator, you'll be able to see a little special emoji that you can get when you become a member. We'll be definitely bringing out more exclusive content for members. And one other thing, like and share and subscribe. We just hit 4,000. I didn't see it happen, but somebody congratulated us in chat earlier. So it looks like we've eclipsed 4,000, all because of you guys. We're running up to 10,000 really quick. Let's get us to 5. The liking and the sharing and the subscribing is just as important to us as monetary donations. It helps us grow just as much, and we appreciate everybody that does it. So that all being said, Man, it's been a long night. We lost. It's no big deal. We ain't gonna act like Buffalo fans. You know, Cincy, you still got some major issues. And as soon as I pull this brand band off, I can let Jonathan have his final thoughts. What do you think, man? What Skyler, Teddy? I mean, what do you think, man?
Well, first off, shout out to you guys. Shout out to the Fins tailgate. Shout out to you guys. You know, prayers towards Tua. Hope he has a speedy recovery. And you know, whoever takes the QB1 position next week and the following week, you know, we got to support whoever it is. And you know, the season's not over. Let's keep moving. We took a loss today. I have faith in McDaniel to find a way to try to, you know, keep it going, keep it rolling. And, you know, we just got to keep supporting the Fins. You know, that's what it's about. And, you know, we all just need to be supportive and keep winning. That's the objective, you know. But, you know, I appreciate everything, man. Appreciate, you know, talking to you. Appreciate the conversation. Appreciate everything, man. And, you know, let's go. Fins up.
Yep. And we appreciate you coming up, man. It was nice meeting you. And, you know, you're always welcome. You've been highly respectful, and we always appreciate that. So, you know, keep coming around, man. You give great takes. You're very knowledgeable, and we appreciate that around here too, man.
Absolutely.
Yep. You have a good night, man.
Yep. You too, man.
Let's see here. And that being said, everybody, hey, we got out of the Bengals. We got out of the fourth quarter of the season. We beat some really, really good teams. We should be proud of ourselves. We're 3-1. Let's move on to the second quarter of the season. Let's make up a really good game plan for whoever our backup is. We still got all the weapons. Our defense is still, I mean, at the point of attack, we're the best defense in the league. I don't care what anybody says. I'll say that till I'll go to my grave saying that. You know, and hey, what can you say? We're 3-1. Let's be happy with that. We're still owning this AFC. And we don't need to be hearing nobody. We don't need to be making excuses. We take this L like Miami Dolphins fans take an L. Because we've had a lot worse ones than this. We've had ones that have hurt way more than this, putting aside our beloved quarterback getting injured, which has absolutely destroyed a lot of our emotions today. And it sucks. It really does. Prayers for Tua. Glad to see you're up and moving, talking, doing fine. Godspeed to a recovery. Take some Motrin. And as soon as I can find my damn outro, we'll shut this puppy down. But everybody have a great evening. Have a great Friday. Come around. Check us all out. We're going to be on again tomorrow. Everybody else will be on again tomorrow. We shouldn't hang our heads low. We're the Miami Dolphins, and we're 3-1. And we're number one, baby. Y'all have a good night. Fins up.